Wait, don't start. I was gonna present the summit.
Howdy y'all, it's my honor to call to session the 25th session of the 55th Senate. With that, for all of those willing and able, if you could please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which they stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. With that, we'll now be moving into our land acknowledgement.
Colorado State University acknowledges with respect that the land we are on today is the traditional and ancestral homeland of the Arapaho, Cheyenne, and Ute nations and people.
This was also a site of trade, gathering, and healings for numerous other native nations.
We recognize the indigenous peoples as original stewards of this land and all the relatives within it.
As these words of acknowledgement are spoken and heard, the highest nations have to their traditional homelands are renewed and reaffirmed.
CSU is a land-grant institution, and we accept that our mission must encompass access to education and inclusion.
And significantly, that our founding came at a dire cost to Native nations and people whose land this university was built upon.
This acknowledgement is the education and inclusion we must practice in recognizing our institutional history, responsibility, and commitment.
Okay, with that, we'll now be moving into the swearing in of new senators and associates. If you are a new senator or associate, or you're switching positions, if you could please join us at the front. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move into beginning roll call. Oh, sorry. If you want to just join us at the front. I state your name.
I, Ian Kencher,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to defend and uphold
to defend and uphold
the rules and regulations
the rules and regulations
set forth by the Constitution
set forth by the Constitution
of the Associated Students of Colorado State University
of the Associated Students of Colorado State University
and will rightfully perform
the
duties of my office
duties of my office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Perhaps. Okay, with that, we'll now move into beginning roll call.
Speaker of the Senate, Reese.
Present.
Speaker Pro Tempore Ying.
Present.
Parliamentarian Falbo.
Present.
Officer Eddington. Senator Rodriguez.
Present.
Senator Esquivel.
Present.
Senator Farfan.
Present.
Senator Bashaw.
Present.
Senator Bennett.
Present.
Associate Senator Yolung.
Present.
Associate Senator Choi.
Present.
Officer Diggs.
Present.
Senator Chosh. Chair Minotti,
Present.
Senator Roberts,
Present.
Senator Rivera, present. Associate Senator Wilkin, Associate Senator Cure, Senator Johnson, Senator Pata Perez, Senator Dusterberg, Senator Jameson, Senator Ornelius, Senator Grenier, Senator McCorkle,
Present.
Chair Casada Stoner,
Present.
Senator Vega,
Present.
Senator Leggett, Chair Rivera,
Present.
Senator Flores,
Present.
Associate Senator Gonzalez, Chair McLaughlin, Senator Batchanin, Senator Grant, Senator Corey, Senator Bone, Senator Mendoza,
Present.
Associate Senator Pratt, Senator Hernandez, Associate Senator Pendleton,
Present.
Chair Fain, Chair Leary,
Present.
Associate Senator Pearson,
Present.
Associate Senator Drew,
Present.
Chair Hill, Associate Senator Markle, Chair Gilroy, Senator Singleton.
Present.
Thank you. That will now be moving into consent agenda. Do I see any dissent to this agenda? Chair Leary.
Sorry. I don't know if this was already fixed, but on the stuff that was sent to the newsletter, I believe the edits to 5423 are an old business and it should be in, yeah, that. Like Bill 5550, it should be a new business. And then the presentation of ASCSU election results, that's on there. We did that last week.
Is there any dissent to fixing these things? Good. We'll fix it. Is there any other dissent to this agenda? Senator Bone.
Can I motion to put resolution 5551 on the agenda?
Do you need to pull it from committee?
Yes.
Coolio. Is there any dissent to this motion? Hearing none, that will also be reflected. Is there any other dissent to this agenda? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move into gallery input. Does anyone from the gallery at this time wish to speak? Coolio. We'll go ahead and run the mic back to you guys unless you want to. Cool, we'll run it back to you.
Can I just do it here? Okay, awesome. All right, members of the Senate, my name is Alexandra Posnock, and I am a Jewish student at CSU and the co-founder of our school's Israel Action Network and Students Supporting Israel chapter. I am here in opposition to SJP's resolution for ASCSU to adopt boycotts, divestments, and sanctions against Israel. Let's be clear about what's being proposed here today. This resolution is not a neutral effort to promote human rights. It is part of a broader political campaign, the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement that deliberately targets a single country, Israel, for isolation, punishment, and exclusion. Not China, who is committing a genocide against Uyghur Muslims. Not Iran, who slaughtered 30,000 protesters 2 months ago. Not Syria, where government forces have been ethnically cleansing minorities. And not Palestine, who slaughtered 1,200 Israeli civilians, mass-raped teenagers at a music festival, and kidnapped 251 civilians, which started the current war in Gaza. Only Israel, the beacon of democracy, innovation, and freedom in the Middle East. We should ask ourselves why that is. Because when SJP holds Israel, the only Jewish state, to a standard they do not apply to any other country, that is not justice, that is bias. When SJP members, some in this room, who get in my face and yell, "Kill yourself, I hope Hamas gets you," that is not justice, that is hatred. BDS does not promote peace. It does not promote coexistence. The founders and leaders of the BDS movement have been explicit. This movement is not about a two-state solution. It is about dismantling Israel as a Jewish state. That is not a path to peace. That is a path to more conflict, war, and death. And here on our campus, what does BDS look like? It looks like shutting down academic collaboration. It looks like telling Israeli students and scholars that they are not welcome at CSU merely because of their ethnicity. SJP is importing a 1,000-year-long foreign conflict into our student government in the most divisive way possible in order to alienate Jewish and Israeli students. This is not harmless. BDS directly contradicts the core principles that this university claims to uphold: open dialogue, inclusion, and the free exchange of ideas. At its core, BDS seeks to silence Israeli voices by advocating for the academic and economic exclusion of Israeli individuals and institutions, effectively shutting them out of the conversations that universities are meant to foster. Instead of encouraging engagement, it promotes disengagement. Instead of dialogue, it promotes division. On a campus that prides itself on diversity and intellectual openness, supporting a movement that calls for the exclusion of an entire group based on their nationality sets a very dangerous precedent. It undermines the very foundation of what a university should be: a place where differing perspectives are debated, not boycotted, and a place where understanding is built through conversation, not isolation. Resolutions like this have real consequences. Across campuses, BDS campaigns have been linked to rising hostility towards Jewish and Israeli students. Throughout the 2025 to 2026 school year, there have been over 1,200 documented anti-Semitic incidents in America alone. Jewish students are suddenly forced to defend their identity, their history, and their connection to Israel in ways that no other group is asked to do. Imagine if we treated Chinese students poorly simply because of the actions of the Chinese government. This should concern every single one of us. If this Senate truly cares about human rights, then be consistent. Speak out against oppression everywhere, including the suppression of Jewish voices. Support initiatives that bring people together. Invest in dialogue, not division. But don't pass a resolution that simplifies one of the world's most complicated conflicts into a one-sided narrative and calls that justice, because it is not justice. It is a performative activism that divides our campus, alienates students, and shuts down the very conversations universities are meant to foster. You don't have to agree with every policy of the Israeli government to reject BDS. In fact, rejecting BDS is what allows space for real, nuanced, honest conversation, something that this resolution completely undermines. So I'll say this plainly: if you believe in fairness, vote no. If you believe in dialogue, vote no. And if you believe this campus should bring people together instead of tearing them apart, vote no. Reject this resolution and reject anti-Semitism. Thank you, and Am Yisrael.
Do I just start?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hey everyone, good evening, ASCSU Senate. My name is Ilan, and I'm a Jewish student and a founder of Rams for Israel, Students Supporting Israel, and the Israel Action Network here at Colorado State University. I want to focus on the use of the word genocide as it is named in the resolution and seems to be the main justification for presenting this resolution. The academic and legal definition of genocide hinges on a singular critical factor: specific intent to destroy a group. However, no credible international legal body has made that determination regarding Israel's actions. Using this term without legal grounding is not advocacy, it is misinformation. If the intent were truly to eliminate a population, the IDF would not engage in unprecedented efforts to preserve civilian life. These include calling and texting civilians in Gaza prior to striking, issuing evacuation orders, dropping leaflets to urge evacuations from target areas, utilizing roof knocking, dropping non-explosive warning munitions to allow civilians time to flee. These are the actions of a military bound by the laws of war, not one seeking to commit genocide. The IDF's stated intentions have remained clear: to disarm Hamas and bring the hostages home, not to target the Palestinian people. To achieve this while minimizing casualties, Israel has deployed ground troops into high-risk urban environments rather than relying solely on airstrikes, which inherently carries a higher risk to its own soldiers. Moreover, Israel has facilitated the entry of more than 1.8 million tons of aid into Gaza, including food and medical equipment, and has coordinated the medical evacuation of Gazans to international facilities. These humanitarian efforts are fundamentally incompatible with the charge of genocidal intent. While Israel seeks to minimize harm, Hamas has spent nearly 2 decades building a 350-mile terror tunnel network specifically designed to use civilian life as a shield. By placing command centers and weapon caches beneath and within hospitals, schools, and mosques, Hamas deliberately converts protected civilian sites into military targets. This is not a tragic byproduct of war. It is a calculated strategy to exploit international law and maximize civilian suffering for political leverage. Hamas has also consistently extended the war by rejecting ceasefire proposals and refusing to release the remaining 101 hostages, including American citizens. They have been caught on film stealing humanitarian aid intended for civilians to fund their terror operations. Even their own munitions pose a threat, with approximately 10 to 20% of rockets misfiring and landing within Gaza, causing casualties that are then falsely attributed to Israel. This recurrent hypocrisy throughout history, where Jews are blamed for the actions of their oppressors, is astounding and deeply harmful to all in our community. In defending Israel from groups wanting us ethnically cleansed, we are blamed for committing genocide. I say this to share that this war is much more complex than what has been put in the mainstream. Labeling the world's only Jewish state in extreme and legally unsubstantiated terms creates an environment where Jewish identity is politicized and targeted. It puts a target on the back of Jewish students who have strong ties with Israel as now being supporters of genocide, when this is clearly not the case. On our campus here at CSU, Jewish and even other Zionist students have been targeted and assaulted. Students have been spat on, told they are Palestine killers. We were told many times that 6 million was not enough. Yelled at that Hamas will catch and kill us. To kill ourselves. Die, baby killers. People had their dorm room doors covered in hateful messages, even those just friends with Jews. And nothing is being done. Yet instead of caring for our well-being, you are considering an action that will ostracize us even further and escalate hate. Students on campus are shutting down, scared to show they are Jewish, unsure of whether faculty and friends are people they can trust. We are quickly being isolated, silenced, and placed in peril, outcast from campus life. Now you are participating in this problem. But today, you can break the chain and help better our Jewish campus community. It is important for me to say that Zionism is simply Jewish self-determination in our ancestral land, though many have it twisted. Israel is a democracy for all and a safe place for Jews. Without Israel's existence, our community is in danger of a second Holocaust. If the ASCSU adopts this resolution and targets one country based on false claims of genocide, it will not be symbolic. It will carry weight and consequences, such as the attacks that my fellow Jewish students have already faced on this campus. I leave you with this plea. Come be our friend and learn who we are. Help us create a role for a senator that represents us. Be the first to fight anti-Semitism and protect your fellow Jews. Today, you can show the Jewish community your support and create a positive change. Vote no to BDS and use your votes to add in anti-Semitism advocacy and education. Let us have trust in you. In the ASCSU Constitution, it states that the ASCSU government is by the students, for the students, and based upon the principles of equality and inclusivity for all. So I ask you to keep these values in mind and vote no on a resolution that will exclude a whole community on this campus. Thank you, and Am Yisrael Chai.
Hello everyone, my name is Aysan. I'm a fourth year PhD student here. I'm Iranian and I'm in Upper State. I just wanted to show up here and give you my own perspective. I know many of you don't know about Iran, what's going on inside, and what's going on between Palestine, Iran, and Israel. Many Iranian people consider Israel their friend, and after what I saw, after our protest in Iran, who led to killing of more than 40,000 people in Iran, and one of my own family member got shot during that protest. I saw pro-Palestinian people around the world carrying Islamic Republic flag. So if you're about human rights, if pro-Palestinian people are about human rights, why are they carrying the flag of #1 state terrorist sponsor, which is my own government? And I'm here to talk because I know my own government is almost falling thanks to Israel and America, Netanyahu and Trump. So I want you to vote no on this resolution. If they are about human rights, why are they giving a resolution about boycotting someone? That's all my thoughts. Thank you.
I'd like to motion that we speak in front of gallery.
I got word on
What was the motion again? Sorry.
To speak at the speaker in front of our
Oh, you can
student
just-
representatives. Yeah, you can just come up there.
I approve.
Yay.
In 1 second.
Test, test. Ah, got it. Okay, well, the speech that I had prepared isn't loading, so I'm going to give this all from the hip. If you don't know me, my name is Michael Maggs. I am a not a PhD student. I'm a accelerated master's program student here at CSU, political science. It's a little bit more than that, but I value all of your time greatly, so I'm going to just keep it short. I'd like very quickly to talk about specifically the United States laws that are being directly violated by the Israeli military, and in general, the fact that it is not only international laws, but national laws. I don't know how many of you know what exactly the Leahy laws are. The Leahy laws are a series of laws that are designed to basically ensure that the United States does not give material aid, either military, to any units that have been directly implicated in what they call gross violations of human rights. Gross violations of human rights include 4 major points, the first of which is enforced disappearance, something that has been consistently happening not only in the West Bank, but also in Gaza. A number, especially around the human rights aid distribution sites. I encourage all of you to Google these instances where Palestinians have been intentionally disappeared, whisked away to prisons, where this is the second point of the Leahy laws, they are tortured. In the news recently is a 1-year-old toddler from Gaza that has been had by Israeli defense officials, or not officials, units, put cigarettes out on its legs and stuck nails through those same legs. You can see the scars on this baby's legs where the Israeli Defense military, the Israeli Defense Force units put out cigarettes in an intentional exercise to extract information from this child's parents. These are two clear and obvious violations of the Leahy law, but there are still more. The third one is rape. In Israeli prisons, there is a systematic, even sometimes televised, instance of rape where Palestinian prisoners are raped by Israeli prison guards. There was a specific instance where this was caught on camera, and then after this happened, there were major riots to free the people who were implicated in this raping of an innocent Palestinian in this prison. These are three of the 4 already they have violated, and this is U.S. law. These are things that are outwardly being violated by the United States. It's not international law. It's not some vague, overarching narrative there. And finally, the last one is simply, I'm forgetting the exact wording, but it is basically intentional targeting of civilian targets. Obviously, northern Gaza is a perfect example of this, where dumb bombs have been used to turn what were once apartment towers into nothing but rubble. There have been hundreds, if not thousands, of Gazans still trapped under this rubble that they have not allowed medical staff to excavate, or it's the same thing that happens in most air campaigns, is they flatten a building, then instead of allowing safety workers to actually excavate the collapsed ruins and attempt to actually, help people that get stuck under the rubble. They're simply left there to rot and die. These are all violations of the Leahy Law. The United States has put this law in place to ensure that we are not giving weapons that are used in these atrocities, and yet here they are. That is the main primary reason that we speak out against Israel and not China. China is not using US munitions to enact a cultural genocide against the Uyghur people. The HTS in Syria is using United States munitions to kill the Alawites, to kill the Kurds. All of these things, they are being done with US weapons. So yes, actually, I think you made a great point there. We should be condemning the Syrians because they are doing these things in our name with our weapons, just like the Israelis are. And that's basically all I had. I would have been a little bit more organized, but yeah.
Hi, student body. I'm Sophia. I'm coming to you as a person with basic empathy, as a person with basic morality, as a person who can identify what's right and what's wrong. And you know what's wrong, I think, and that's something that we can all agree on, is killing people, right? Just like a basic, like killing people is like bad, right? So then what happens when we kill like 75,000 people? You know what the United Nations calls that? A genocide. You want to know what the Genocide Scholars Association calls that? A genocide, sir. A genocide of living, breathing people who have your age, my age, 20-year-olds dying, and I'm sure you've heard me give this speech before, of why 20-year-olds in Palestine, in Gaza, in Rafah, are being executed, shot in the head, bulldozed, bombs dropped on them from places that are, bombs that are created in places like here in Fort Collins. People who are being evaporated, people who are being tortured in concentration camps of the Israeli regime. People who, children, Palestinian children, who go into these concentration camps when they're 15 because a settler came and decided to knock on their home and had an issue with them because they're fucking Palestinian. And you know what happens to that Palestinian boy? He stays there for the rest of his fucking life. For being Palestinian. For having the audacity to live on his own fucking land.
He just gotta keep
Sorry.
No cussing. You're good, you're good. You just move forward, no cussing.
That is reprehensible.
Oh.
That is absolutely reprehensible. I also want to say that conflating Judaism and Zionism is anti-Semitic. You want to know why Israel was created? It was created because Europe, guess what? Is anti-Semitic, right? They didn't want Jewish people living in Europe, so they created this place out of a British colony to have reign control over the Middle East and to subjugate people. There is no greater threat to Jewish students, to the Jewish population in America than the existence of Israel. I just want to stop that perpetuation of straight up Israeli propaganda, right? We have great allies, Jewish Voice for Peace, and we have Jewish members and Students for Justice in Palestine, not just in this chapter, but across the globe. When we saw people occupy the Trump Tower in protest, it was Jewish Voice for Peace, and it was Holocaust survivors. Holocaust survivors on the front line of this fight, I hope you know that. And if we want to talk about the returning of hostages, let's talk about the returning of Palestinian bodies to people to families in Palestine whose bodies are brutally mutilated. I don't know if you've seen that.
bodies coming home, people coming home without organs. You know, Israel has the largest skin bank in the world. Wonder where they got that skin from. Absolutely reprehensible. I'm here, like I said, as a person with basic morals. And my morals tell me, as they should all tell you, and especially the people who thought clapping for Rams for Israel is okay, because that's literally a Nazi group. Like, that's crazy. They are the ones who perpetrate some of the most hate on this campus, alongside TPUSA. Vote yes on the Career Fair resolution. We want to have ethical ties. We do not want to be complicit in this genocide, and we do not want to be complicit in the manufacturing of any weapons or aiding in the worker pipeline to uphold occupation, to uphold the US war machine, and uphold imperialism, because imperialism affects us all here at home and affects everyone across the globe. Please vote yes.
Hello, I am Autumn. I'm Vice Chair for Student Justice for Palestine, and I just wanted to start off saying, I feel really, this is off script, but I feel really pissed off that just hearing what just like Zionist here said today, and it's just really scaring me about our future on campus. Anyways, I'm going to start with my written speech now. Woodward is a corporation running in Fort Collins that has been actively creating bomb parts that have and still are killing innocent people. So would you rather our school allow companies actively destroying homes, actively ruining the environment, and we claim to be an environmentally friendly school, and actively taking away the lives of people fearing for their lives and the rest of their remaining families' futures every single day? Since there have been over 75,000 Palestinian violent deaths by Israeli military complications, this does not count the bodies not found. How would you feel if your parent, grandparents, siblings, aunt, uncle, cousin, closest friend was murdered by a genocidal weapon, genocidal imperial power, which is possible due to the Americans helping people in Palestine have been killed as well. There are ethical companies our school has been working with, so why can't we seek out more that are? Why can't we seek out companies that are a part of the process that is taking the lives of people? Why can't we seek out companies our students will not feel guilty working with? I have heard students feeling hopeless at the idea that they can work somewhere they truly want to be. They don't want to be building bomb parts. They don't want to make surveillance technology racially profiling people. They don't want to build machines bulldozing the people and homes. They think they have no choice but to actively contribute to horrible people murdering Palestinians. Who in good conscience can be part of the destruction of another person? Should we force our students to think that in order to gain needed experience, they need to work with these companies? As I'm staring at you, Senate, I know you can make a morally just choice to make changes, not just stopping our school's associations with companies such as Woodward, Caterpillar, and Hewlett-Packard Enterprises, contributing to the suffering, but you would also be helping the student body find jobs without thinking they have blood on their hands. Thank you.
Hello again, ASCSU members. I come to this podium as a student who, speaking about the Engineering Career Fair resolution, specifically about the resolution's goal of divesting from HP, Woodward, and Caterpillar, 3 companies that have been used by the Israeli government against Palestinians in a war that has been categorized as a genocide against Palestinians by multiple organizations, including the United Nations. I would imagine that if you are anything like me, which I would imagine you are, considering that ASCSU comprises of CSU students like myself, that hearing the word genocide instills a reaction akin to, I don't want to associate myself with anything that could possibly link to this. In fact, this reaction is the exact reason why I have been angry about this university, which I consciously chose to go to for its values and social justice. It's disobeying the values that I have idolized by choosing to allow HP, which has supplied hardware and software to the Israeli government and military that has been instrumental in racial segregation, Woodward, a company that has manufactured bomb parts that are used to kill Palestinians, and Caterpillar, a company who has given armored D9 bulldozers to the Israeli government that are used to destroy Palestinian homes, in addition to crushing Palestinians and activists. In fact, many students on this campus didn't even know that these 3 companies are involved in genocide until they were told about it. And they were saddened, angry, or even in despair that they had looked up to these companies and in some cases considered applying. The average student only knows that HP supplies hardware and software. The average student doesn't know Woodward as the bomb part company. They only know that Woodward is an aerospace company. The average student only knows Caterpillar makes machinery for construction. I remember my first time that I found out about the complicity of all 3 of these companies and how I felt a similar wave of sadness, anger, and despair, especially because when I was a kid, I would find security in seeing the little Caterpillar machines when my parents' cars would drive past their facilities, or being in awe of the toy Caterpillar bulldozers that I'd see at people's houses or in stores. If I had told kid me that the little bulldozers she found security in watching moving around at construction sites were being armored and used to destroy homes and kill people, I think she would start sobbing. I don't want students to have to endure those same questions that I wrestled with about the morals of this university and why I didn't know about these catastrophes. I feel like it should go without saying that we should not allow companies that are contributing to a genocide to be hiring students on a campus that is supposed to be upholding social justice. On a footnote pertaining to the average student of one who would consider themselves to be uninvolved in what's happening in our student government and perhaps the political world outside of it, I come to say this. As much as they have that choice to stay uninvolved from knowing what's happening overseas, they don't have to make the choice to be uninvolved if these companies uninvolve themselves from our campus. Thank you.
Before you start, if anyone would like to make the motion to suspend the aspect of the bylaws, Article 7, Section 4, Subsection C, Subsection A, that would remove the time limit stuff. Chair Benanti.
I motion to do as speaker reset.
Sick. Do I hear a second? Do I hear any dissent?
Dissent.
Hearing dissent, we'll go ahead and take a voice vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Any abstentions? With that, I believe the ayes have it, so no more time limit for this section.
Hello, I am Hebron Nekesi. When a company that has helped the killings of children, families, and innocent people, you don't want to be associated with that. CSU has been putting resources into companies like Woodward, HP Enterprises, and many more. These companies help fund bombs that are sent to Palestine, killing people who have lost their homes, have been or currently are in a state of starvation, and have been living in inhabitable environments. What look does this give not only our university, but our students? Personally, I want to create and learn in an environment that doesn't make me question the moral grounds of my education. However, there is still time to make this change. This doesn't have to be our reality. By voting yes on Resolution 55, we can stop the funding of these companies and build a stronger, better CSU. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kelly. I am here in support of Resolution 55, and not because I believe in limiting students, but because I believe in what our university represents. Colorado State University doesn't just educate us, it also endorses certain paths. When CSU invites and promotes companies that compromise global conflicts, it's not a neutral action, it's a decision. And that decision reflects what we are willing to be connected to, especially our core values as a university. This resolution does not take away student choice. Students can still pursue any career that they want. We have that privilege. But what it does ask is that CSU stops actively promoting and financially aligning itself with companies whose work contributes to harm. And this isn't unrealistic. Universities have done this before in the past. Schools across the country have divested from industries when those industries conflicted with their values, whether it was fossil fuels, private prisons, or weapons manufacturing. In fact, the University of San Francisco recently committed to divesting from defense companies tied to military violence after student advocacy and pressure. Historically, universities like the University of Vermont have divested from weapons such as cluster munitions because of ethical concerns. At the end of the day, this bill is not just about careers, it's about values. Are we comfortable allowing our institution to promote industries connected to violence? Or do we believe our education should reflect a commitment to humanity, accountability, and ethical responsibility? We are more than students. We are part of a community that has influence, and with that influence comes responsibility. I urge you to vote in favor of this resolution to not restrict opportunity, but to ensure that the opportunities that we elevate with the values that we claim to uphold. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Barakat Ahmed. I'm a 4th year biomedical engineer, and I'm here speaking in support of Resolution 55. So we at CSU take pride in one of our biggest principles of community, social justice. Our school has opened the doors to a plethora of student-run organizations that have done great work in activism and bringing inclusiveness to our community. For our own institution to continue relationships with genocidal corporations that are aiding in the killing of innocent people in the Middle East does a major disservice to the work our community has done and the values for our student body shares. It's hypocritical to say we are a social justice school and then in the same breath have ties with Woodward, HP Enterprise, Caterpillar, and other Israeli-tied corporations. As of 2023-2024, 17 schools have adopted similar resolutions to the one presented today, 42 in total since 2005. These institutions are still operational, showing that their divestment from Israeli-tied corporations have not shut down their doors. Our involvement brings no benefit and will only outrage our community. Let's take our best step forward in upholding an inclusive and sustainable environment that reflects our student body. I urge those undecided to vote in support of Resolution 55. Thank you.
Hello ASCSU representatives, this is Ant. I want to speak in favor of Resolution 5551 because I think that it is necessary in preserving and creating a university that the students can put their faith in. Over the course of this semester, allies within ASCSU have given me hope as an organizer that this space is a place where change can happen. I think it is essential to the relationship between the student masses and their representatives that we can trust you to make the right decision here. I'm going to school to be a school teacher, and I have watched as kids the same age and younger than those I will be teaching are slaughtered in Palestine, and now I watch as this slaughtering is extended into Iran and Lebanon through bombs and into Cuba through asphyxiating blockades. To watch the institution that I attend to become a teacher also be the institution that encourages my fellow students to be enablers of genocide and global destruction, which certainly violates our principles of community, if not American and international law, is honestly surreal and quite frankly irrational to me. At a time such as this, we need an ASCSU like the one of the Vietnam War era, where the students in positions of power at ASCSU were the ones leading and taking on change making. I am eager, truly, to see the direction that this Senate and ASCSU as a whole will go in, but nevertheless, I do want to continue to urge that these are desperate, barbaric times, and thus they are times where we need to take a stance. We need solidarity between the student body and its representatives. I understand that there have been concerns about finding alternatives or replacements to these genocide profiteers. And firstly, I want to say that no alternative is better than having them. But also, I do want to say that we have plenty of people that would love to spend their free time, their time of day, researching new, innovative, and beneficial companies for the world, rather than ones that profit off of the world's destruction. And it's hard to appreciate the presence of good organizations when we are busy fighting against the presence of the worst of them. But I promise that we will find good organizations. I saw some at the career fair that HP, Woodward, and Caterpillar were at. I saw people putting the brilliant minds of engineering students to use to better the world, to create renewable energy alternatives. That is the future that I want for ASCSU. That is the future that I want for CSU. And in a world where everything feels like too much, we have to say that enough is enough. Vote in favor of this career fair resolution. Take a stand, and you will be remembered as we remember the ASCSU of the Vietnam War era. People that stood for something. Thank you.
Hello. As a lot of you know by now, my name is Nevaeh. I'm currently serving as a senator for SAFE. I just wanted to come up here and speak to everyone who's speaking in gallery today and all those who want to know, like that are in support or against these issues. I am ashamed of myself to say that I am not very well versed in these issues. And I'm so glad that all of you have come to speak on this so that I can learn more. And I'm really hoping that I just have a small favor to ask, if you wouldn't mind finding me at some point and just talking to me about these things. I really want to know like what things are happening across the globe. And as someone who wants to become a social worker, I should probably know about what's going on across the world. And human rights are very important to me, and I want to be able to advocate better and understand what my community wants and what my community needs. So if you wouldn't mind, if you have anything you'd like to share, anything that you just find interesting, I'm happy to give you my email, my number, my Instagram. I'm on Instagram an unreasonable amount. But yeah, if there's anything that you just want to share with me, it doesn't even have to be politics related, policy related, whatever. If you just have something you want to share, I'm always here. And I hope that I can be a better advocate, and I'm sorry that I haven't done so thus far, but I promise you that I will do my best from here on out. Thank you.
I'm speaking on behalf of a general member from our organization named MEC. I'm speaking here in support of Resolution 55. Woodward, although being based in Fort Collins, has no other reason to be attached to CSU. They do not align with our principles of inclusion, and many of our students would be able to find experiences and internships through other companies. Our students are educated enough to be recognized by their own merit. Between the years of about 2023 to 2024, about 17 schools, 42 schools since 2005 have passed similar resolutions and haven't suffered financially or neither have their reputation. Companies like Woodward, HP Enterprises, and more have been involved in socially corrupt and morally corrupt actions. Our students are outraged by the ignorance CSU has shown, and we hope that this Senate may right these wrongs. Thank you.
Hello everyone, coming to you as a student. I didn't have much prepared, just some things I jotted down. But I want you all to be wary of anyone who tells you we can only hold one truth at a time. In Iran, you can be anti-regime and anti-war, anti-imperialism. We can value Jewish voices and uplift them and denounce Zionism. We can have pride in our nation and condemn US imperialism. The narrative that these things are mutually exclusive is what provides the US an easy avenue for their unlawful interventionism. It's what allows people to conflate Judaism and Zionism. It is what stagnates us as a nation and makes us all complicit in the suffering of thousands of people across the globe. That's all I wrote, but I also want to touch on ICE, being in airports. We all need to be exercising extreme caution. I don't want to fearmonger, I don't want to scare you, but low-key we should all be terrified. You should be enraged, you should be terrified. You should be doing something. You should be looking at your digital footprint. You should be having a protocol when you and your family travel for the people that you care about. I'm going to keep it short, not take too much time, but thank you.
Does anyone else from the gallery wish to speak at this time? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move into campus community reports. Does anyone want to give a campus community report? You want to go ahead? Okay, real quick. Campus community is like stuff that's happening on campus, right? Okay, chill. So the CSU annual drag show is coming up. Yay! It'll be this Sunday, and I'll be kittening, which means I'll be the person walking around collecting tips, which is cool. All the tip proceeds go to the LGBTQ scholarship, which is very cool. And I think last year we got around $3,000 just from tips, which is amazing. And so I've heard Farron will also be kittening, which is wild. So, yeah, so if you can make it, please do. It's free to attend. If you don't have money for tips, that's fine. Just come enjoy the show. It'll also be headlined by someone who's made it to the top 5 of RuPaul's Drag Race. So this season. So yeah, if you can make it, I would love for you to. Thanks.
This is a new thing, so I didn't do it at first. In the respect of it being like a thing outside of officials, if we can actually have the line of people who want to give campus community reports in the gallery, that'd be slay.
So actually, I need my computer.
Okay.
I completely.
Hi guys. Okay, so you might have gotten an email about this already, but if you haven't, make sure to check your emails. You might have gotten an email from NSSE, that's the National Survey of Student Engagement. We call it NSE around here. But if you're a first year or a senior, make sure you fill that out by April 20th. And if you fill it out by April 20th, you get entered into a drawing for a CSU plushie, a keychain, or a $25 CSU bookstore gift card. If you don't finish it by April 20th, don't worry, you still have time to do it by May 11th. And I just really appreciate if you can do it. It really helps our university improve our services and things of the sorts. There's a couple on the Pius area, but I'll bring a couple more over here. And on there is a QR code if you can't find the original survey in your email.
Hey, I'm gonna make two quick campus community reports. First one, as to reiterate Senator Green's thing. Come to the drag show, 10 out of 10. I will be there. You might see me as a unicorn. And then this is something that I found out about. There will be milkshakes from Miracles on the 28th. It's going to be from it's going to be at 1307 Birch Street from 1 to 4 p.m. It's being hosted by a sorority. I am bad with Greek letters, so I'm not going to even attempt it. But the proceeds from that are going to go to the Children's Miracle Network, and it's going to be like supporting children who are suffering from, terminal illnesses. So yeah.
Hey y'all, if you don't know me, I'm Farron. I'm the current speaker for Tempor. I just have a few things. My first thing, come to the drag show, throw some ones. I better see stacks. I know y'all got some cash lying around, so yeah, and yes, I will be a kid at the event. But on another note, just because I feel like a lot of the things that we talk about in ACSU is that disconnect between us and students, especially in terms of the resources and benefits available to them. In order to kind of solve this issue, I'm starting an initiative called Real RAM Problems. Basically, it's going to be filming like fun little informal videos with members of our community, so that's around Fort Collins and CSU included, just to kind of raise awareness on those resources and benefits. Like, we say that 1/3 of our RAMs suffer from food insecurity, but what amount of RAMs don't know about the food pantries, stuff like that. So if you want to be involved in that, I am mainly looking for people that aren't in ACSU, because coming from someone in ACSU, if I looked at a video as also someone I know at ACSU talking about stuff, I'm just like, next, I don't really care, but it's not interesting. We gotta actually be pandering to a community where they see their own peers. We kind of sit in these offices, we're not really interacting with peers. I want to ask a student that's not involved with ACSU if they can name more than 5 members that's in ACSU. It's probably none. You want to see people that you're friends with that aren't involved with CSU that are presenting these things. So if you know anyone that would like to be involved in that video, please let me know. Contact me if you have any questions. I have a flyer for that first general planning meeting. Again, if you would like to come and you could show up, I'm not saying no ACSU members, just let's keep it at a limit kind of thing. But yeah, I am looking for specifically CRCs. I think the list of people I've already reached out to, just so y'all aren't doing a double thing. Wait, I'm pulling it up right now. I've already reached out to United Women of Color, United Men of Color, Africans United, El Centro, SDC, BSA, NAC, YDSA, SJP, Warner College Council, and grad student. But yeah, so we're gonna get that going. It's gonna be basic needs stuff. There's also it's gonna be a series of videos. Some of it will be basic needs, some of it will be advocacy. So getting in touch with Senate representatives or LSAB and stuff like that, like how to write legislation or how to do gallery input, but things like that. But yeah, if y'all want to be involved, let me know. Thank you.
Hi everyone. Obviously, I'm a chair in this space, but I'm also a DJ at 90.5 KCSU Fort Collins. And tomorrow is our annual Punk Fest, Fools Fest. It's super fun, such a great time. It's at Sutherland Gardens, which is right, if you go straight out of the offices that way. We're gonna have 6 local bands: Smear Campaign, All My Senses, Clay KG, The Vertebrates, Crassphage, and Planet Clear. It's from noon to 5. Come listen to some punk music. Last year there was a bunch of food and some really cool vendors, so it's always a good time. Yeah, and come say hi. Thank you.
Hello, Senate. April is coming up around the corner. April is Wapita and Swana Heritage Month. I don't have the flyer yet for the month schedule, but that is coming out on our Instagram soon. Look out for a bunch of the fun events. I do have an event for you next Monday. It's the Merry Monarch Showcase, where you can come gather and watch previous hula competitions. It'll be in APAC from 3 to 5, and I hope to see you guys there.
Hey Senate. Okay, so I'm actually the president of the Body Project, and so this is what I will be talking about. We're having a workshop, and so basically in these workshops, it's 2 hours, and it's 2 times. So like it's gonna be on Monday, and then the following Monday it'll be again. And in these workshops, we challenge the body ideal, we challenge the body ideal, and then boost self-esteem, and kind of just like neutralize bodies and just talk about it, and also like again challenge it. We actually do like little exercises on how to. There's a lot of different like diet talk and like also just like different body talks that gets brought up and like we don't even realize it and everything. So if you are interested, it's April 6th and the 13th, and it's 5 to 7. So if y'all would like to come, please let me know. It's super duper awesome. It is mostly for non-binary folks and women, but men are welcome to join. We just have to have a limited amount just to make sure that everyone feels safe. And yeah, thank you.
Hey. I usually do this during exec, but I want to hit the gallery tonight, and I see you guys starting to fizzle out a little bit, so I want to do it while you're all here. But if you are interested in collaborating with other universities across Northern Colorado, not just CSU, I really want to talk about the Basic Needs Summit. I'll hand out this flyer in a second. But this is a great way this is where universities and colleges from all across Northern Colorado, so us, CU Boulder, UNC, Regis, Front Range, Fort Lewis, all of the universities across Northern Colorado come together to talk about our basic needs systems and what we have in place and collaborate and see what works. So if you guys remember the emergency housing program that is being implemented and was a bill at the beginning of the year that we collaborated with CU Boulder. They had an emergency program and we based ours off of that, and that started from the summit last year. So this is a great way to make lasting change if you're interested in changing university systems as a whole, especially when it comes to basic needs. If you like to talk, there's also student workshops being presented throughout the day. So if you want to talk about basic needs, if you like to listen and you want to learn, this is a great opportunity for education. So I'm going to pass out this RSVP form. It is on April 20th, which is a Monday from 9 to 4. Food is provided, transportation is provided if that's an issue because it's in Denver. And there are also half-day options if you guys can't be there the whole day. But I would love to see you all there. This is a great way to get your voice heard and actual change in systems.
Leah, does anyone else wish to give a campus community report at this time? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move into our guest speaker, if our guest speaker wants to join us at the front.
Hi there, thanks so much for inviting me to, off. That is, thanks. Okay, that sounds a little better. Hi everyone, I'm Trisha Canonico, and you might recognize me. I was on city council for the past 5 years, and since stepping off, I am now working with Front Range Passenger Rail to get out the word about getting a passenger train to Fort Collins. Okay, so, kind of exciting. Front Range Passenger Rail, the district was formed by the state legislature in 2021, and we were empowered with the ability to put a tax measure on the ballot. So we are considering that for this November. And we have the direction to plan, finance, construct, and operate intercity passenger rail. So you might be familiar with the light rail lines that come out of Denver. This will be much faster. We're going to average a max speed of 79 miles per hour. And we will have stations, 13 stations going from Fort Collins down to Pueblo, and eventually tying into the Southwestern Chief from New Mexico. So you can ride the train from Fort Collins all the way down to Albuquerque. And you might see that Broncos, that's not the official logo for the train, but we are looking at partnering with the Broncos for their new stadium site and having special event trains down to the stadium. So So you can go see a game, you can go to a concert, and never have to hit I-25. So why Front Range passenger rail? I'm sure who hasn't sat in traffic on I-25 or worried about being hit by another car. So these are things that everyone's experiencing in Colorado. Plus, as someone said earlier, CSU is really active environmentally, and this is a way we can help improve our air quality for the region. Like I said, there's lots of traffic delays going from here down to Pueblo. This is what you can see in Denver and Colorado Springs. These are times that are lost each year for delays. They don't have data for Fort Collins, but I'm asking them to get that for us. Also, air quality. You know, we're in a non-attainment zone. We have the 15th worst air quality in the country, so anything we can do to help improve our air quality is really worthwhile. And reduce costs. This is what the average consumer in Colorado spends each year on congestion, sitting in traffic each year. Right now, we're working on the service development plan, and this is something that we're working with the Federal Rail Administration and also BNSF and Union Pacific, which are the two freight rails that own the line that will be going up and down. We'll be using their line for the passenger rail to get this product out to Coloradans as quickly and as cheaply as possible. So we're in the last stages of the service development plan, and we should see that completed and voted on by all the different entities that are working together, CDOT, Front Range Passenger Rail District Board, RTD, and the freight rails by the end of the spring. So we had 5 different alternatives that we were considering for this rail line. And we ended up going, it's always nice when you get called in the middle of a presentation. We have 5 different alternatives that were considered and analyzed, and we are going with alternative number 3. So when the rail line is fully built out, there'll be 10 round trips a day with that maximum speed of 79 miles per hour. And right now, estimates are we'll have about 1.5 million riders a year. We anticipate that we'll actually get more riders as this was done in 2024, and we've just seen congestion increase since that time. We have 2 different rail lines that are very similar to what we're looking to do with passenger rail that have come on board in the last couple of years. So there's the Borealis Express, which runs from Chicago to Minneapolis, and then there's the Mardi Gras Express, which runs from Mobile to New Orleans. And both of those lines have seen a massive ridership which was much higher than what was originally projected. And we think we'll see the same here. So right now we're in this stakeholder engagement piece. So I'm out talking to people in northern Colorado. If you want to get more information on passenger rail, Fort Collins will also be hosting a town hall with Front Range Passenger Rail on Monday night. Come join us. There'll be cookies with cute little logos on them, and a chance for you to ask more questions if you have them. And we really want to make sure that what we're doing is going to work. So we're doing polling this spring and a second wave of outreach as well. And we just want to build public trust. So some of you might have heard about RTD and the light rail line that was supposed to extend up to Longmont. Yes. And we are actually going to be joining with RTD to bring that service on board. And we are anticipating that phase 1 of rail, which will go from Fort Collins to Denver, will be completed by 2029 in conjunction with RTD. So with that, Westminster, Broomfield, and Louisville will get stops through the RTD Joint Service Program. So it'll be 3 round trips a day by 2029, which is pretty exciting because when you think about big projects like this, you're usually thinking about timeframes that are 20, 30 years off into the future. And so this is the finalized plan. That's the corridor that we're looking at. So stops in Fort Collins, Loveland, Longmont, Boulder, Westminster, Broomfield, Littleton, Douglas County, and we just found out that'll be Sterling Valley, excuse me, a new development that's coming online in Douglas County, and then Colorado Springs, Pueblo, and eventually tying in Trinidad to the southwestern Chief. The other really exciting thing that I think for CSU is the station location in Fort Collins is going to be at Drake and College. So I think that will make it really easy for students to say, go down to Boulder for a game, or we have Sundance coming to Boulder. So if you want to go down and see a movie as part of the festival, you can do that. Go down to Denver for the day. And this will tie in at Union Station to Mountain Rail, so you can go ski, hop on a train here, and get all the way up to Winter Park. And the train to Winter Park is going to be year-round starting in November. So it's exciting to see all these transportation alternatives coming to our state. We're also looking at building out the station here in Fort Collins with first last mile connections, multimodal, and tying into the MAX line, having bike share there. So, different ways to get around the city that makes it really easy to be a student and not have a car. And as part of this, we are looking at what Front Range Passenger Rail is calling a local return. So stations will get money to help build that out. So based on the population of Fort Collins, we're looking at about $3 million a year for 25 years, which is really a great way to help Fort Collins have this new area for economic development and to activate for housing and other uses as well. And again, we're doing a lot of research and data to make sure that what we're doing is going to work for the state and will be efficient and will be a good use of taxpayers' dollars. So we have a financial plan that's really in-depth that we've worked with the Federal Rail Administration on, and the implementation plan as well. And so like I said, I'm doing outreach. We are also looking for help naming the train right now. We have 4 names. And the winners so far, the top 2 are Coco and Fred. So if you want to get on board with helping name the train, you can go to Ride the Front Range, Name the Train. So if you just look up Name the Train, you should be able to find the link. And so that's the branding that we're doing right now, and we're working on that agreement, the service development plan. And we are also working with local communities to make sure that we have their input and their support. So again, there'll be that town hall on the 30th and another one in Loveland on April 16th if you can't make the 30th. And we are looking at moving to the ballot this November. And that's all I have for you. Thank you.
Associate Senator Singleton. If you have questions, keep your placard up.
I have a couple questions for you. First question is, do you know what the train model will be for this?
So again, we're looking at this as the minimal viable product.
Okay.
So right now, we'll probably be using train stock that's leased from Amtrak. It looks like Amtrak will be our operator for the line. So I don't know precisely what the model is, but yeah, going with probably older stock right now until we get built out further.
Sounds good. And then, do you know, right now we're still in like the preliminary areas, how much the tickets will most likely cost?
So we want to make sure that it's accessible and affordable for all residents and that they can envision themselves riding it. So right now, the ski train is $9 a trip.
Okay.
And I believe the most that we could charge is $39, but we're trying to, again, keep it as reasonable and affordable as possible.
Okay.
Thanks for the questions.
Cool. Yeah, sorry, a couple more. Do we know how bad, since we're using the NSF and Union Pacific lines, will we have priority over those lines, or will the cargo trains have priority?
I believe the agreement with Amtrak is that they have priority over those lines, and I can check on that question for you and get an answer back if you'd like.
All right, cool. Yes, please, thank you. And then last question is, do you know how many trains will be operated at a time to be able to keep up with stuff?
So we are going to have just one train when we start out with those 3 round trips today. There will be a backup train as well. And so we'll just run that one. So it'll start out in the morning from Fort Collins and then spend majority of the day down in Denver. There'll be 2 round trips in the morning and then 1 in the evening.
Okay. Cool, thank you, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry that I called you an associate. I was looking at Jack while calling on you. Associate Senator Pendleton.
I don't need to raise my plaque. I don't know why I did that. So my first question is, looking at the work done by Brightline in Florida, they've reached up to 125 miles per hour, and their most latest rail project, which is supposed to be complete next year, is upwards of 210 miles per hour, being the first high-speed rail in America. So my question is, why 79 miles per hour and like the upwards of 95 miles per hour?
Yeah, so the 79 miles per hour, again, it was like, how do we bring this train to Coloradans and keep that public trust that was somewhat damaged with the RTD Fast Tracks model? And so we just want to make it happen, I would say, and then we can build on that success. And we chose 79 over 90 because of the terrain and the urban corridor. There weren't that many areas that we could go 90 miles an hour, and there was additional safety measures that would need to be in place. So the most efficient, lowest cost option was the 79 miles per hour.
Gotcha. Thank you. The second question is, when is this supposed to be completed by?
So the joint service, which is from Fort Collins to Denver, will be in place by 2029. And then the build out is up to 20 years.
Awesome. And last one, you said there were round trips for Fort Collins, 2 in the morning and 1 in the evening. Do you know the specific times or like a general time zone?
We don't have that information yet.
Great. Thank you, and I yield.
Senator Leggett.
Hello, over here. I have a quick question. You said maximum speed of 79 miles per hour. Is that because you have to stop? Do we ever reach the 79 miles per hour? What's the average speed throughout the entire run?
I don't have the average speed, but the maximum time, and this is something that's still being negotiated, but it looks like the maximum time from Fort Collins to Denver is 1 hour and 44 minutes. So, you know, pretty comparable to driving in a car, but we're working with BNSF to see if we can get that turnaround at a lower time.
Okay, thank you. That's my only question.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Hill.
Hi, I just want to say that this is obviously sorry, I'm over here, a great project, and I just had a couple questions. So I know that the California Zephyr Rail that goes from like Chicago to San Francisco, like I know that there are often delays because it has to yield to like cargo trains. Using the Union Pacific lines, will there be priority to passenger rail over freight lines?
Yes, and I'm going to check on that answer. I do believe so, and we are, as part of the rail improvements, we are putting in sidings so that the rail will be able to pull over. And part of the agreement too is these times and sticking to a time schedule as well. Because this is still in negotiations, I can't go into greater detail on that. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
I yield. Awesome. Senator Bergen.
Hi, I just want to say I really like this just because my first year I was a big commuter with the bus thing. So I believe this is very great for students who don't drive. I do have 3 questions. I know it was mentioned what the model would be for this train, but I do want to ask, will there be some type of, will there be like security, like cameras in the train to ensure safety? And then my next question is, would there be other services provided like concessions? And then where can we vote for the name?
Thank you. Yeah, again, we're looking at building out that basic model and just getting that concept running. So I'm not sure if there'll be concessions to begin with, but that is definitely something that we have planned for. I know the mountain rail does have concessions. And then, I'm sorry, can you repeat the other parts of your question?
Where can we vote for the name?
Vote for the name.
I have the link pulled up. I'm really passionate about naming the train. I'll drop it in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I yield.
Thank you. Oh, my handwriting was bad on this one. Associate Senator Batkin.
Yeah, Balkin. Sorry, just a quick question. Given the ballot funding measure, are there plans in that to subsidize tickets? And also, sort of in that same vein, Tabor's a really big thing here. Is there like contingency plans if there's a ballot measure that rescinds funding? Or like, what's the sort of stitch with that?
Are you talking about the the Colorado Contractors Association ballot measure that they're looking at running?
No, my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the funding for this is on a ballot measure. It has to be that way because of Tabor. So is there contingency plans in place if in 3 years the Colorado residents decide we no longer want this and you're halfway through building this out, like sort of to maintain that trust?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything on that level. I will say that starter service, the 3 round trips a day, is already paid for. RTD has a pot of money that their taxpayers have been paying into since 2024, and that will be used to build out the rail up to Longmont. North of Longmont, there was 2 bills that passed in 2024. 184, which is a fee on rental cars of $3 a day, and then 230, which is a fee on oil and gas exploration. Both those enterprise funds can be used for rail, and so there will be no additional taxes needed to get that first 3 round trips a day in place. The ballot measure will go to building out the entire system. But no, I haven't heard any concerns regarding that, but I can ask about that as well for you.
And then just one more concerning the build out. Do you know how much that'll be? Are there estimates and what sort of specifically is the plan to be taxed?
Yeah, so that we are looking at right now. That's part of the negotiations. I believe those should be concluded by May, and then we'll be able to say, I'm sorry, the second half of the question?
Just sort of like what sort of, is this an income tax? Is this a property tax? Is this a business tax?
Yeah, so right now, a sales tax is being considered, but we are also potentially looking at a lodging tax. A lot of communities already have lodging taxes in place, and it would be allowable to put another 2% lodging tax on top of that with Tabor considerations.
Thank you. I yield.
Thank you. Chair Grenier.
So I know you answered earlier for Chair Hill about like adding sidings and all that, and having like a schedule with BNSF and UP. Given the fact that they consistently have trains that are larger than the double sidings on this area, are there any concerns with like those types of trains that move rather slowly and can't pull over? So you'd have to like either this train would have to yield to them, or you'd have to work around that schedule. So any kind of like concerns about that?
Again, this is part of the negotiations that are ongoing, but I should have more information when we conclude those agreements in May.
Okay, and then another question. I saw it was 79 miles an hour is the max speed. I'm interested in why you chose 79 instead of the permitted 90 miles an hour on that track.
Because of safety concerns and the price. So for each mile of the rail line, we have to put in positive train control, which allows the track to keep the train on. I don't know if anyone remembers that big derailment in Pennsylvania a couple years ago, and they didn't have positive train control. Well, positive train control is $2.7 million per mile, and that's to get to that 79 miles per hour. To go to the 90, we would need additional safety measures, which again, we're just trying to get the service in place and maintain public trust that this can happen. And then we can build on that success, is what we're thinking.
Okay, one last question. Sure. So I'm from Florida, and I'm just interested if, like, given the Brightline had a very similar value proposition, and they consistently failed to hit target ridership. Do you have any concern about that, given the given the sort of less dense area down toward Pueblo, or do you think the higher density in the northern part of the French Range will make up for that?
You know, that's another question that I can bring back to the district, but I do think that these are conservative numbers that we have, and what we're seeing with the very similar rail projects that have moved forward in the last couple of years. For example, the Mardi Gras Express, that exceeded the annual projected ridership in, I think it was 3 or 4 months. So I think we're really on track to be very similar to that. You know, one other thing that I've heard when I'm out talking to people is I was talking to someone who's on the state tourism board. We don't get a lot of international conventions in Colorado because we don't have public transit. And so I think this is another avenue for us to bring in more tourists and to really promote Colorado. I think the other important pieces are it's really about economic development as well. It's not just ridership, but what we can bring to the state and opening up opportunities as well.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I have a point of clarification. The Brightline passenger rail is, I think about like 3 or 4 times more expensive than what these tickets would be projected, so I just want to make that clarification too.
Point of clarification, the state of Florida, because of failed ridership, had to sell to Florida East Coast. That is why it's that expensive.
Marina, Associate Senator Yella. Hello, so you mentioned that the ticket pricing can range up to $39. Now, for a one-time thing, that's justifiable, but as commuters, that can stack up even though it's like at a lower price. I was wondering if you're potentially open to doing maybe like a membership for passengers that, you know, at a lower price that it's like more justifiable, because I know that $39 is not, even though it's as high as it can go potentially, it's still not very cost efficient for passengers, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and we're still trying to fine tune what the ticket prices will be. I believe that $39 is what's been legislated as the max price. So trying to keep it affordable. And we've seen the mountain rail selling out at $9 around, one-way ticket. And I think that's a really great model moving forward. So I believe, I also serve on the Front Range Passenger Rail District Board as well. And I know that board members really want to see this as an affordable alternative for everyone in the state. So more to come on that.
And just one more question. Are you guys open to potentially student discounts per chance?
Again, I don't have that information yet. Still more work to do on that.
Thank you, I yield. Thank you, Senator Rodriguez.
Hi. Just a pretty couple simple questions. By chance, would this at all replace busting?
No. They're serving different riders. Because we're going to be going along the 287 corridor, it's really not very accessible to those that live in Weld County or east of I-25. So there is no plan to stop Bustang service. I will say, however, that Bustang is facing a revenue shortfall of about $30 million. So right now, with the 1.5 billion that the state is looking to cut, I'm hopeful that there are solutions there for Bustang, but there are no plans for FRPR to replace that service.
Perfect, thank you. And then my next question is, I know a lot of these details have not been finalized, but once they are, where can voters and just like anyone who's interested in this, where can they find that information?
Yeah, so if you go to, I believe, sorry, it's Ride the Front Range.
This website?
Yes. Yeah, sorry, let me find my glasses. Yes, ridethefrontrange.com. And you can sign up there to get updates and get more information, and stay tuned to what's coming forward.
Perfect, thank you so much, I yield.
Senator-elect Hushai.
Just gonna grab one. Let's do this, Chair. Hello. Yeah, so I have a couple questions, so I'll go one at a time here. So you mentioned a timeline of 2029. Is that like if it's voted in the next November, or like can you expand on that timeline a little bit?
Yeah, that's a joint service that will be 3 round trips a day between Fort Collins and Denver, where we have that funding from RTD, the existing pot of money they have, and from those 2 measures, 184 and 230. So the governor has actually mandated that it be completed by December 31st, 2028, and we're still on track to achieve that. We're saying that 2029, just to safe side.
Awesome. Yeah, that pot of money from the RTD, what happens to that if this doesn't go through?
They have to use it for rail projects that they haven't completed yet. They are set to vote next month to sign on to the joint service plan, and from all indications, what I've heard is that there's enthusiasm from that board.
And then the statewide tax that would be up in November is for the construction. And then you mentioned something about the other taxations coming from the rental of cars or oil and gas going to that maintenance of trains?
That will go to, so that money has to go to rail and transit in the state. It's designated to first go to rail to help get it constructed, and this is a tax into perpetuity, so it will continue to help fund that. And then I'm sorry, I forgot the second half of your question.
Just that money there going to, so the initial tax would be, as far as I understand from your presentation, the initial tax is to build the train system, and then after every year you have that $3 million you said that goes to maintain, and that's coming from the oil and gas and the rental car.
That is actually, if this passes at the ballot, we're calling it a local return, and each community that has a station will get this revenue to help build out the station area, to help bring in multimodal, to do bike and walkability to the site, and that will be for 25 years. So if you like this idea, if cities with stations sign on with a letter of understanding by the end of June, they get an extra 10%. So right now Fort Collins is looking at $75 million. If they signed on before June 30th, they would get another 10%, so $82.5 million. And that goes to those communities. The 184 and the 230 monies are used for rail projects, not just maintenance, but to help build out whatever that looks like. That money is actually designated by the Colorado Transportation Investment Office Board and the Clean Transit Enterprise. CTIO controls the 184 money and CTE the 230 money, and so they get to designate where those funding go, but the legislation is written that it has to first go to fund rail and then transit.
Okay. You mentioned that it would be like contracted out. Do we know who that would be contracted with yet?
It looks like Amtrak will be the service provider.
For also construction?
Oh, for construction, no, I do not know who has been designated, and I think, again, because we're still in negotiations, that I don't know that that's been determined.
Okay. You mentioned earlier in the presentation the financial and implementation plans. Is there a place we can get access to those?
I believe they're on the website, and again, they may not be complete because we are still in negotiations, so it's not out there yet as a complete document, a signed document.
And negotiations are going to be over in?
They were originally intended to be completed by the end of 2025. There have been some positive developments, so it has been extended out, but we anticipate that to be completed by May.
This May?
Yes.
And will you be back then after that? To explain it
I'm
again?
happy to come back, yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I think a lot of our questions probably were, we're not entirely sure yet because it's going to be still negotiated, so yeah. Cool, awesome, that's all my questions. I yield my time.
Awesome. Chair Leary.
Hi. So I'm a newer member of the Disability Advisory Board, but then I've been attending for a while, so I haven't seen y'all come to us. And then I also am a member of the Dollar Trans Accessibility Committee, and I haven't seen y'all come to us as well. So I just wanted to check in if y'all are planning on that, or like, and then also like what accessibility features are y'all gonna implement or looking at?
Yeah, so it will be accessible. Again, because we're going with the cheapest alternative, or I should say the most affordable alternative, it will not be the higher platform, but there will be ramps up for wheelchair accessibility, and yes, we will be ADA compliant in every way. It will be when we are able to move to this other more advanced stock, it will be a smoother transition. Not to say that it won't be, but it will be more built out, the platform area.
And then have you considered attending the Disability Advisory Board?
I am happy to come talk to anybody. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I yield.
Senator Garvin.
Hi, I just have one more question. My question was, will this, if it gets passed and everything, I'm not sure if anyone has asked this, but will it cause more traffic in I-25, or how will that look like?
It should decrease traffic with the 1.5 riders getting out of their car. The majority of traffic on I-25 is single occupancy vehicles. So if you think about that, at least 1.5 million fewer cars on I-25 each year.
Yes, I meant by like with construction. During construction, so like while we're building, it like will it, yeah.
I think, there's not passenger rail currently, so I don't know that while the rail system is being built out, that's going to have an impact on vehicles on I-25. And again, it's going to run along 287 along the existing rail line that's already there, so there's no need to build additional rail.
Thank you, I yield.
With that, are there any other questions for our guest presenter? Senator Corbett.
Thank you for being here and thank you for your service on Fort Collins City Council. I represent the grad school. We're very concerned about the train horns that currently exist along this corridor. They wake my people up and they wake their babies up. Can you commit to not using train horns in your operations in the future?
So with my work on City Council, I served on the North Front Range Municipal Planning Organization, which is the 2-county transportation planning committee. And so I worked a lot with transportation issues in the city, and every year we would make a trip to DC and meet with the Department of Transportation and plead with them to please create a quiet zone. Or there are other horns that are more directionally focused that have less of an impact on the community. And we were always greeted with nice smiles and nods, and nothing would ever come of it. So we don't have control over that, but because the rail station will be at Drake, most trains, at least for the beginning, they are not going to run outside of business hours, really. I think the first train will be 7. The last train is supposed to be here by 7 or 8 in the evening. So hopefully that will have less of an impact on our community. But that was one of the reasons why we weren't looking at Old Town is potential noise issues, but also the impact on traffic in the Old Town district. The other consideration there too is that you need a 1,000-foot straight portion of rail, and that doesn't exist in Old Town.
Thank you. Why would nothing ever come of it? You said that.
We have been fighting that battle for about 25 years, trying to get the Department of Transportation to shift their policies in Fort Collins. And it is something that every year we go and we meet with a deputy director, and we are trying, it is definitely a top concern for the city management and for council members, and I'm sure the city will not stop trying to get that shifted, but we have not had success so far.
I appreciate your efforts. Is this train horn thing like 100 years old, like dating back to the old days when children would play on train tracks? I mean, like, why is this? Why do they blow their horns all night long and wake us up and disturb our sleep and disturb our cognitive functions and create mental health issues and wake up our babies? Like, and I know it's not your fault. I know it's not your fault. And I appreciate your time, but like, tell me.
I don't have that answer for you. What I could suggest is reaching out to our Congressman, Joe Neguse. They have an office on College, just by Cafe Vino, just south of that. And he is really great with working with constituents, and I'm sure he would like to hear your concerns.
Yes, I mean, do we have leverage though right now with your
As an additional point of clarification in terms of quiet zones in trains, I love trains, big shocker. I know that California in the last couple of years was able to establish quiet zones, so I think there's hope. I think, as our speaker said, contacting our congressman about trains could be epic.
All right, thank you. I yield. Thanks for your time.
Awesome, thank you. Associate Senator Katcher.
I just wanted to ask quickly about, are y'all looking for, sorry, my brain is tired. Are y'all looking to have this be powered by renewable resources and renewable energy sources at all?
So right now we're looking at clean diesel and eventually being able to shift to electric. The Denver area has the ability to use electricity to power the train, and there are dual fuel stock that we could use, so that's still something that we're working on.
Great, thank you, I yield.
Awesome, any other questions? Chairman Baldwin.
Okay, apologies if this has been asked before. I'm very late. Does the Front Range Passenger Rail District have any plans to work with communities on building transit-oriented development around stations?
Yes. It's mandated that it be transit-oriented development. There's also House Bill 1065 this year that would create these, I don't know the exact name of it, but these transit areas that can get each year will be designated, and they will get up to $3 million each to help build out that transit-oriented development at the station locations.
Okay. And then another question, will the rail district own the land around the stations and potentially be eligible for some of the housing benefits from recent bills like that passed?
Like Prop 123?
More like the ones that exempt transit districts from stricter zoning requirements.
Yeah, so this will be like currently on rail and bus rapid transit routes within a half-mile radius of those lines, they are eligible for additional funding. So yes, the sites will be eligible. The property, it's BNSF. The right-of-way is there, so it depends on the station area with the different communities. So it could be public-private partnerships, or it could be owned by the city where the station will be. There's going to be different options for different cities. So we really want cities to be able to customize it to what works best for their communities.
All right, thank you, and thank you for your work on this.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you for coming and speaking to us. Awesome, with that, we'll now be moving into executive reports. If our friends from exec want to come and join us at the front.
The best thing to do.
Hello. Oh,
sorry.
This will come. I want to give you guys a quick update. Eyeball is ready to go. The RSVP form is up and running, so please RSVP. I cannot state this enough. You have to RSVP. It is a plated dinner, so if you do not RSVP, I will not have a dinner for you and I will not have a seat for you. And I am so sorry, but I have been told to turn people away who did not RSVP. And I would hate to do that. So please, please, please RSVP. It's in the Teams and the QR code is posted outside my office. Outside of that, I have an update from Chief of Staff Isabella Simpson. From Isabella Simpson, the State of the Association is an annual event hosted by the leadership of Associated Students of Colorado State University that provides an opportunity to reflect on the progress, priorities, and impact of student government throughout the academic year. The event serves as a platform to highlight ASCSU's major accomplishments, initiatives, and advocacy efforts that have shaped the student experience at Colorado State University. During the presentation, ASCSU leadership will outline key achievements across legislative actions, student-focused initiatives, campus partnerships, and policy advocacy. The goal is to provide transparency and accountability to the student body while showcasing how student leaders have worked to represent and advance the interests of CSU students. In addition to reviewing accomplishments, the event is designed to foster meaningful dialogue between ASCSU and the broader campus community. Following the presentation, attendees, including students, faculty, and staff, will have an opportunity to participate in a moderated and proctored Q&A session. This interactive portion allows participants to write questions down on a card, share feedback, and engage directly with ASCSU leadership about current initiatives, future priorities, and issues impacting the campus community. This will not be a debate style. By combining a formal review of the association's work with an open forum for discussion, the State of the Association aims to strengthen transparency, encourage collaboration, and ensure that student voices remain central to the continued development of student government at CSU. This will take place on Friday, April 3rd in the Never Know Summer Ballroom, and it will be cocktail attire. Bella will be sending out an RSVP email as well as attaching the link to the ASCSU Instagram for those that don't get a direct email to RSVP. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out, and her email is ascsu_chiefofstaff@colstate.edu. Unless there's any questions, thank you for your time.
Hi y'all, a couple of things. So the first one is the Day at the Capitol RSVP forms are officially out and live. So if you haven't already RSVP for Day at the Capitol, take a second to right now open your computers, open your phones, whatever, go to Teams, and right there in the Teams, I put the link. Make sure you fill out the one that's to the ASCSU officials RSVP because I have two separate ones because we only have about 100 spots. So if we get like 120 like people RSVP, I'm gonna have to limit how many ASCSU people come. I know it kind of sucks, but also I want to make sure that as many students as possible are going to be able to get the opportunity to go to the Capitol. Make sure people who have never been to the Day at the Capitol are able to go. I really, really, really hope that more people and a lot of people can sign up. I really would say that Day at the Capitol was the thing that made me care about ASCSU, honestly, and honestly was probably the first step to getting me into the position I am right now. I really contribute my position currently to two things. I would say Day at the Capitol and LSAP. So if you're looking to have my position next, come to Day at the Capitol. So that's the first one. Try to get as many RSVPs as soon as possible. It's also on Instagram, so if you repost to your stories, that would be great. Share in your classrooms. We're going to a lot of classrooms right now and trying to really do a lot of CLA work, but I'm currently trying to connect with the College Council for Warner and also for Ag because I think those are two schools that I would like to see a lot more people coming to Day at the Capitol. So if you have, I'm seeing, oh my god, I have the thing open and I just got distracted because so many people just RSVP. Thank you. But yeah, so if you have connections to either of those college councils, hit me up so that I can get people in. Share it. And I'll probably finalize that list by Friday. And then the second thing is LSAB is looking for 2 more seats. We had some of the at-large representatives step down, so we have 2 open seats right now. Currently only have 1 application. As much as I would love to just approve that person, we actually have 2 vacancies. So share that application as well. That's on Instagram, but I also posted the link earlier today. And then again with LSAB, we didn't meet the week before spring break just because of all the wind nonsense that happened. But we'll be meeting tomorrow and we'll be meeting with our lobbyists. They'll be giving us an update on the current state of the legislative session. Last I checked, we have one of our bills so far has passed all the way through the legislature. That's HB 26-1001. Shout out Jared for helping a lot with that. And so that's officially been passed, and we have a couple of other ones that we have taken a support stance on, and we're just trying to get through the legislature right now, which is super cool. And then the last thing is, if you did enjoy Trista's presentation earlier and you'd like to get us ASCSU to sign on to a letter in support of the rail, please let me know. I actually wrote a resolution about this on like Sunday or Monday when I got her initial contact information and did some coordination with the lobbyists to make sure that this is really as much as effective as possible. So if you want to sponsor or endorse that legislation, let me know. I'll post it in the Teams probably tomorrow. I just need to fix the whereas clauses because they don't exist. But you know, it's great. But that's all I have. Let me know if you need anything.
Hi everybody. Who here has a constituency? Everyone's hands should be up. Who here? You have one. Who here knows how to get in contact with their constituency? Oh my god, awesome. I have something for you to send them. At the summit, I'm trying to get as many people there. I already gave you the explanation, so I'm not going to bore you guys with it again, but I will hand these out. Please send it to them. I want this to reach as many students as possible. There is a further explanation in the Teams, in the general Teams. If you want like an actual written out version of it, it's in there. There's also another one in the RSVP form at the very top. There's like a description that has the day details, location, time, like actual timeline of the day itself. Anything that you'll need to know is in there. So it's all written out for you, you just have to send it over. So I will be handing these out. Additionally, in the Teams, there's a Swipes Rams event, which is happening April 1st. So that is where anyone who has dining hall meal swipes, you get like an allocated amount. You get an allocated amount of guest swipes as well. These are not your day-to-day, like the ones you use every day. These are ones that you get extra with your meal swipe package that you can use when you bring a guest. Like if your parents or your friends come, you can use those. A lot of students don't use them and don't even know they have them. And those get donated to the Rams Against Hunger Food Pantry for their meal swipes program. So students who are food insecure can sign up for that, they get like 40 swipes a semester and use those as needed throughout the semester. And so we are tabling to get students to donate their swipes. So if you're interested in doing that, the Sign Up Genius is also in the teams. And then an update on Ramban harm reduction, we did have to postpone 2 weeks ago just due to wind. So we're doing it tomorrow. I have a few signups, but that sign up is in the teams as well. And we still have 2 more after tomorrow if you're interested. Summit, please. I'll hand it out right now. Thank you.
Does anyone else from exec wish to give a report at this time? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move into judicial reports.
Hi everyone, hope you guys all had a great spring break. I don't have much. The big thing now is doing the transition report project that I've talked about briefly with you guys, but that's the idea of not having transition reports live within the branches anymore and dependent on who's in leadership, but having it more system-wide within front desk and advisors. And so either later this week or beginning next week, I'm going to set out into the teams a checklist that I have created, and it's for your guys' feedback. And so this is supposed to be very general checklist that anyone like the director of finance to a committee chair can use to pass on their positions. And so if you guys have any feedback on what that would look like or what should be on there, what you would have liked when you came into your positions, that would be great. That's it for me. Thank you.
Does anyone else from judicial wish to give a report at this time? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move into legislative reports. As for me, first, there was a skateboard left in the theater last week, so if you left a skateboard there, or if you know someone who left a skateboard there, let me know and I can get you into contact with someone who can get that skateboard back. Oh, mess. Anyways, additionally, I've been in contact with LSU in terms of the article that came out in the Collegian a couple weeks ago. This is an issue in this room, that's an issue on this campus, but it's also a national issue. So there might be joint legislation across a couple of universities across the country. So be on the lookout for that. Additionally, I'm going to list off the other things that are currently in my drafts. If any of them sound of interest to you, I love collaborating. Renaming the Housing Caucus to the Housing and Basic Needs Caucus, shout out Chair Grenier. Introducing an ASCSU gavel amendment. This would just essentially make sure that each piece of our legislation either has to go through committee of the whole or through a committee. This is to prevent it from not actually being considered by the Senate. The reintroduction of the Constitution Caucus, an accessibility omnibus, redefining the floor rights of the Senate, defining a resignation process, creating heads of delegations, helping Melanie with transition reports, shout out transition reports, and then amending our archival processes. But that's all I have right now. Cleo, other officers?
Just something super quick. For Org Wellness, we are hosting the Catch Up and Collaborate event with ACCU. So it's everyone within ACCU. It's all 3 branches are invited just to come to ACCU. It's a time just to study, and then also gives you time to meet other members, maybe in the other branches, or even collaborate with things related to ACCU. You should definitely come. And for all senators, if you do attend, if you do plan to attend, please reach out to me. I'll also be there, so I'll probably see you. But if you attend, I'll remove one of your strikes. So yeah, y'all should go, because a lot of y'all have strikes. So you know that second strike, next one you get it, you get resigned. So you should definitely be removing the strike. You should definitely attend the Catch Up and Collaborate. Thank you.
One other quick thing for me.
session directly afterwards, a tree fell into someone's car or something, so I got a little busy. If you were new last week, or if you're new this week, if you could sign all of your information on that funny piece of paper, that would be phenomenal. Awesome.
Of course, reiterating what they all just said, and also acknowledging this Kroger sparkling water that was left by our presenter. We've come off of a lot of good momentum following the election. There's a lot of focus on us. For my part, I begin to integrate some of the smaller things that have been in the suggestion box. If you look at the legislation this week, you'll have dates at the end of the file names. That was recommended so people can keep track of it easier. Additionally, I think I've identified a few persons who I think would be generally pretty good for the parliamentarian position, and I'll try to get them to come and get themselves out here a bit longer, get them trained up and everything. And if you have any people, or if you yourself are interested in holding that position, please reach out to me. I'd love to work with you. As always, I'm here to serve you. I'm at your service, and thank you.
Yeah, with that, we'll now be moving into committee and caucus reports by First Race Blackbird. Chairman Otti.
Community Action Caucus met this week. Solid, a lot of solid conversation that happened. Our time is still 10 to 11 on Mondays, but also I do have an email. You are free to email me if you also have concerns, because that way I can still do stuff. But besides that, I know my caucus, potentially, look out, in April, will be tabling. So yeah, I yield.
Awesome. Chair Grenier.
Housing caucus went on Tuesday at 12:30. We finally have an official time. It will be Tuesday at 12:30 for the next 7 weeks I'm in this position. So come on down. It's a great time. It's really fun. I yield.
Thank you. Chair Hill.
Hi, obviously because of the wind, Women's Social Justice did not meet last Friday, but we have some pretty cool ideas that we're working on implementing. One of them is working with the Safe Center to do like a professional clothing closet situation. So if that is up your alley, if you are like, that sounds awesome, you should come to caucus, let's chat about it, Fridays 1 to 2. Additionally, I'm working on some legislation to get rid of the Bradford pairs, or like a resolution. So let me know if you're interested in that and would, just like want to chat about it too. Awesome, I yield.
Thank you. Chairman Otti, part 2.
I nearly forgot. On the backs of Melanie and Brooke transition reports, I will be starting to write mine up fully now. And if you are intrigued on learning how to do a transition report, let me know. I have a bit of experience, and I will probably also be reaching Melanie and Brooke to help out with that transition report summarization. So again, I yield.
Thank you. Chairman McLaughlin.
The Budget and Appropriations Committee did not meet last Thursday because I am a meteorologist and I knew it would be windy. However, we will be meeting this week, tomorrow at 1 p.m. Also, since we are approaching the time when we review and approve the budget, if you would like to learn more about that, come to the Budget Committee or just ask me any questions you have. I yield.
Awesome. Chair Rivera.
Hello. We met on Monday, both bills, resolution, one bill and resolution were taken out of committee. Sorry, I haven't slept. And I guess moving on, if you are interested in getting more information about university affairs and maybe chairing it for the next fiscal year, please feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to kind of like run you through the process and everything. And then we meet Mondays at 1. And if everyone shows up on Monday, I will bring cookies. Yes, or I'll bring cookies to committee on Monday. Yeah, I'm just gonna go. Great, thank you. I killed.
Awesome. Chair Casada Stoner.
Hello everyone, I hope you're having a great night. We did not have committee on Friday because I'm not a meteorologist and I canceled that day. So shout out Jared. you do everything. But we did not have committee. We'll have committee again this Friday. I am gonna see if there's another time for committee other than Friday at 5 p.m. with the front desk, but I will keep y'all updated, okay? So just TBD on that. But we will have committee this Friday at 5 p.m. I'll bring cookies. Also my sister is here and she'll bake them, and she's a fire baker, like so good. Also that's why I'm in and out. I want to hang out with my sister, so yeah. But I hope y'all will come. It's super awesome, great people. Yeah, I yield.
Thank you. Are there any other committee or caucus reports? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move into Senator and Associate Senator reports. Senator Taylor.
Okay, I'm going to ask you all to think back to the good old days of about 2 months ago when my bill was not yet in committee. Those days are coming back. The referenda bill that I have allowing the Senate to put questions on the ballot in the ASCSU elections. I've had communication by email with the web development team, and that is all good to go. They don't have any issues with that. So I have a couple of minor edits that came up in discussion that will be fastest just to make as a floor edit instead of doing that in committee. So I ask that any committees that have that legislation still, maybe you let that out so we can see that next week. I yield.
Thank you. Senator Singleton.
All right. I have two things. The first thing is, I remember during gallery input, some people were talking about alternatives for the current companies in place. I am a pretty good resource for figuring out like the nitty-gritty of the details of like what the engineering and maybe what the engineering school would require from those alternatives and stuff. So if you want to, I'm a resource for that. So yeah. And then my second thing is I've pretty much finished the police bill. However, I do need some collaboration for that, and I want to hear a lot of people's input on that. So I am available on Friday at either 10 or at 4, where we can all sit down and just work on that for a while. So I'll be passing this around, and yeah, I yield.
Coolio. Chair Leary.
So I just wanted to say that I'm working a little bit with the city to maybe create a tree lighting law in the city, not just on campus. I don't know, campus is weird, but it basically means that we'll just have people not be able to park a certain amount of feet away from a crosswalk or an intersection. This is just because I've noticed some people parking on curb cuts and truncated domes, and then the specific area, the other side of the street is not accessible, so it's just blocking, creating a situation where like if someone needed the curb cut, they would have to go on the street, like where the cars are, which is not safe. But other than that, we're looking at a lot of money tonight, and let's spend our money, but also I just wanted to maybe encourage people to like maybe say if you're planning on asking for money so that we're all communicating and aware, because that's something that I want. I yield.
Thank you. Senator Roberts.
Hey guys, dust off your boots because the Skyline Rodeo is coming back. The Skyline Stampede is going to be the 76th annual. It's going to be in Loveland by our CSU rodeo team. So please come out and support. It's $10 a ticket. April 3rd, it's going to be from 3 to 6 p.m. April 4th, 4 to 6 p.m. And then Friday, April 5th, it's going to be free, and then that'll be at 10 a.m. So come out and watch either the championship or support our CSU rodeo team. With that, I yield.
Awesome. Senator Mendoza.
That's me. Hi everybody. My organization ACES, it's just Advancing Native Americans in STEM. We're hosting a potluck on the 31st, so next Tuesday. You guys are all more than welcome to come. I'm gonna put the information in the teams. It'll be at Roland Moore Park, I believe, at 5:30. We're gonna be having games, food. So if you guys are interested, feel free to reach out to me directly, or look at the message I send in the teams. And you guys are all more than welcome to come. You could bring a friend, bring yourself, bring a plate if you're interested. Feel free to pull up. Yeah, it's gonna go for however long we're gonna be there. And then if you wanna get involved with ACES, feel free to also come up to me. Anybody's welcome, all majors. Yeah, we go to a national conference and regional conferences, so if you're also interested in that, feel free to let me know. Thank you. I yield.
Awesome. Senator Corey.
Thank you. I wish to briefly commend the death of our colleague Paul Agbo, A-G-B-O. He was a 4-year varsity letterman on the CSU track team. Graduated from the school as an undergrad and then came to our graduate program. He was among 15 of us in our cohort. He was the only African American, and he was born in Ivory Coast, and he was just a great man. He died on March 15th in a single vehicle accident on black ice in Broomfield. Thank you. That was him, and leaves a huge gap. We love him so much, and just want to commend him. And his funeral is Friday in Colorado Springs, and he was extremely close to his mother. So you are all welcome to come. I'm bringing all my children, and our whole cohort will be there. So you're more than welcome, and we'd love to have you. Thank you for honoring his memory.
Chair McLaughlin.
In case you were planning on going and did not hear, the graduate student panel that ASCSU is hosting tomorrow is canceled. So in the words of Kamala Harris, do not come. I yield.
Thank you. Associate Senator Young.
Chair Leary said to give a heads up if there's funding needed. APAC is in need of funding, but no legislation is just drafted yet, but we're still doing research because we're looking for funding for our schools. So more information on that, and with that I yield.
Thank you. Senator Singleton, Part 2.
Yes, sorry, real quick. I'm also working with Michael Butler and the deans at the UCA to be able to get more funding, to be able to build another right to go Tucker Path tree. So that's another one just to have in mind for over there. Thank you, I yield.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to give a senator or associate senator report at this time? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move into confidence business, starting with Senator Bone.
I would like to motion to move my resolution 5551 to the top of confidence business.
Do I hear a second? Do I hear any dissent? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and do that. So we'll go ahead and start with resolution 5551. Yes. Coolio, as actually, I'll wait.
Resolution 5551, upholding the principles of community and career fairs. This resolution calls for CSU and CSU administration to cut ties with Woodward Incorporated, Caterpillar Incorporated, Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, and any company in violation of our principles of community. There were edits made.
Unfortunately, because this piece of legislation was pulled from committee, the edits currently aren't real, for lack of a better term. So I would entertain a motion to enter committee of the whole so we can make those edits now. Make sure to say the word dissolve. Associate Senator Pendleton.
I motion to dissolve into a committee of the whole.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Do I hear any dissent? Hearing none, we're in committee of the whole. I would entertain a motion to make all the edits that the committee's made. Chairman Alden.
I motion to have the committee edits added to this piece of legislation.
Phenomenal. Second. Are you going to disapprove any of the edits? No? I am not. Coolio. Awesome. I would entertain a motion to exit committee of the whole.
I entertain a motion to exit committee of the whole.
Second.
Can you make the motion?
I motion, sorry.
Phenomenal. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any dissent? Hearing none, we're out of committee of the whole, and we're now in a period of discussion and debate. We'll go ahead and start this by first raised placard. Does anyone? We're entering a period of discussion and debate by first raised placard. Senator Singleton.
I gotta pull up my notes.
Point of information, what read is this?
Second.
Thank you.
And, all right, sweet.
Point of clarification, just again, the second is the debate and discussion, right?
Yes.
Okay, just want to confirm. Thank you. I yield.
Yeah, I mostly just wanted to say that I think that this is a good idea to do, as many of the people in gallery input said. A lot of the resources and research alternatives from Woodward, CAT, and HP, the companies would have been able to supply to make CSU more obligated to transition. Because since CSU hasn't transitioned yet, they're most likely not going to until student body puts pressure on them. As an engineering student, I very much believe that the point of engineering is to translate hard and soft sciences into products that benefit the world, not to align with political and corporate greed. These companies are indeed deeply embedded within CSU, as I have a couple classes that get excess tooling from Woodward, Governor, and those toolings cost around $10,000. And it is definitely a lot of money, but I do think that this would be a good idea because a lot of the people are working on finding alternatives to these companies that would be able to still provide CSU and the engineering department with the resources that we do need for this to work and for this to not necessarily affect those who are concerned about it affecting them. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I yield.
Coolio. My disdain for committee of the whole blinded me previously, so we're going to go ahead and read out all of the edits that were made in committee of the whole to fit our accessibility guidelines, and then we'll jump back into the speakers list.
Can we pause the timer while we're editing, please?
Sure. Sure. Okay, there we go. If and then assuming that I have all of it correct, it was primarily the endorsement of the Internal Affairs Committee, sponsorship by the University Affairs Committee, as well as a slight edit towards, the second clause, this one? Second to last, therefore clause. That being if contacted before August of this year, 2026, and that I think is the most substantive of the edits.
Coolio. With that, we'll go back into the speakers list. Senator Roberts.
I yield because I just had my point of information.
Sick. Senator McCorkle.
Yeah. So I represent the College of Business here in our space, and as some of you may know and probably assume, several of our constituents care mostly about networking, job prospects, LinkedIn connections. And yes, some of them want to protect employer relations and keep the career fair as large as possible, and that concern is real. But friends and peers in my constituency care more about taking a stand. They care more about standing up for what is right and those who do right. So let's put this in perspective. In February, we had our semester career fair, and Woodward attended. But so did 74 other employers. We're not taking away jobs from people who want them. We're not stopping students from applying to these jobs, but we're holding our university accountable. We're telling our university what we want. We're telling our university to stand up for something that is right. And that's important to me, and that should be important to all of you as students of this university. I yield.
Thank you. Senator Corey.
Thank you. I'll be voting no on this resolution, just for the record. You know, I represent people who need jobs, all right? And we are corporate psychologists. okay? Hewlett-Packard, there are a few Hewlett-Packard computers in this room right now, and I can see them. Hewlett-Packard is a massive company that is a good company. You know, weapons are used for good and weapons are used for bad. And Hewlett-Packard stopped an Iranian missile from striking Gaza. Okay? So Hewlett-Packard stopped an Iranian ballistic missile from killing Palestinians, which you proclaim that you love, which is part of the sovereign territory of Israel. They launched a missile at Gaza. Hewlett-Packard stopped that. So, if you're involved with saving Palestinian lives, Hewlett-Packard saved Palestinian lives, literally. Literally. So, you know, we can virtue signal all night long, but I'm just voting no because my people need jobs, and my people are going to go into these companies, and my people are going to talk to these companies, maybe persuade them, maybe not. And the point is just jobs. And there's a lot more I have to say, but you know, I don't want to take up his time. So that's how it is. And thank you for listening to me.
Awesome. Associate Senator Pendleton.
Quick point of clarification, we are not trying to stop students from getting jobs at these locations. We are just making an attempt to keep them off of our campus and hold the university to the standards that they claim to uphold in order to essentially maintain trust with us. If students here still want to go out and get jobs at these companies, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, that is your own choice. We just do not want to welcome them on campus.
Well,
Yeah.
I do want to welcome them, so that's it.
Well,
We differ.
yeah, it doesn't uphold our community's principles and the promises the university has made to us.
My principle is jobs.
I fear we have to work off of our speakers list. No, you did great. And into a mic. But with that, Associate Senator Pendleton.
Awesome. I just want to briefly address that HB has been found to further racial profiling within Israel, their computer systems as well as their systems that they've manufactured in-house have been used to racially profile Palestinians in Israel. I also want to say briefly that there are plenty of jobs. Like, there's plenty of companies that come here. These are 3 companies. There's plenty of others, and they are again like was discussed earlier. We are working to replace them too, and we have. I know. Just sitting here next to this beautiful senator right next to me. I wish I could remember his last name. Singleton. It's Singleton. I'm sorry. We have already discussed. I am so sorry. We have already discussed replacement companies that can fulfill these same roles. What? One of them is Cirrus Aviation. Anyways. But I think, just to reiterate what was said in gallery, I think this legislation is so important to pass. I think this is it's so important that we get this through and prevent people from, like was said earlier, I don't know, forget the wording, but like feeling like they were forced to work at these companies for money and not wanting to be complicit in the genocides that these companies are implicated in. And thank you. I yield.
Thank you. Chairman Otzi.
I am going to try and keep this brief, but if I go over, tell me to shut up. This body has made a statement multiple times, at least in the past, on the Gaza Israeli situation. And I'm pretty sure that this is a further enactment of that statement. We have denounced what is going down in Gaza, the genocide, blatantly. And I think that's an understanding that it is owed to our constituents to keep our values consistent in all aspects. Because otherwise, you don't actually hold those as values. With that being said, I also understand the want for these jobs and whatnot, but I also understand that there's an understanding, even amongst my constituency, that how these technologies that are being manufactured, used, and spread out, like not even just in Gaza, but all across the globe, are still perpetuating harm. And eventually that harm is going to turn back onto us, especially those communities who have less protections. So fundamentally, I think we owe it to both our constituencies and those we work with to let them have the options of those who at least had an option to work somewhere else, and that we don't have to have these companies who would be okay letting that harm happen elsewhere and then proceeding to let that harm happen to those communities who do not have those powers to defend themselves. And I think that's where I'm very much going to be voting yes on this. So yeah, I yield.
Thank you. Chair Leary.
I yield.
Awesome. Associate Senator Catcher.
I just wanted to add on to the point that Associate Senator Pendleton made about HP's computer system being used to do racial apartheid in Palestine. They provide facial recognition hardware and software, which is scanning people's faces and documenting whether or not they can go to certain places. That's wrong, obviously. And also I would like to add that I have had people in the College of Business, people in the College of Engineering who feel that they cannot get jobs outside of some of these companies because these are some of the only companies that provide internships to people with zero experience. That is why it is so important that we get them off of our campus, because they are actively targeting people who have not had experience in the field in order to induct them into the war machine. And that is not correct. And also I want to add about HP. They are giving computer systems to ICE to do racial apartheid here. So yeah, I yield.
Chair Grenier.
So I want to partially echo what Senator McCorkle said. We both represent the same constituency, and consistently from my side of it as well, I have heard that people are more interested in making a stand about this than having them on our campus. And for the College of Business and Career Fairs, the jobs offered by Woodward are negligible. They are sub 1% of the offerings. And they consistently, as one of my friends said, jobs? What jobs? They tend not to give you any. So I don't really see an issue with removing them. I think it's better for us to make a stance here about these kind of companies being on campus and providing more options for students than would be the concern about losing 3 or 4 job offerings a semester. I yield.
Thank you. Associate Senator Bakken.
Okay, before I begin, point of information, is this going to committee after this, or is this going to vote today?
This is in its final read.
Okay, then in that case, I have a couple things. I'm a senator for the College of Engineering. I agree with all the things behind this. I'm a new senator, I'm a freshman. My understanding of the current administration, Amy Parsons, College of Engineering, they're gonna take a look at this and they're gonna put it down and never look at it again. And I think that's not a good thing, but I also think that it's maybe something we can change. I mean, like I just like want to put it to attention, like College of Engineering has existing relationships with HP to supply computer systems. Like, it's not like really, I guess my concern with this, and I haven't been here, I haven't been in committee to talk about this, but if we give this blanket statement and say you can't bring these unethical companies, you have to break ties with unethical companies, in my view, that's gonna make the entire claim have less value. So I just have some concerns with the bill as the way it's written, like specifically with the second therefore clause in the read I have, and the like sort of language of the fourth therefore clause. Yeah, sorry, I just like reading through it. I think there's still changes that could be made, because if we want this to have actual actionable impact and not just be virtue signaling and performative activism, we should, like, I don't think we should pass this without saying, okay, College of Engineering, here is a valuable replacement, and not say we're gonna do that in the future, but say, this is what it is, here's how to do it, because otherwise, they're not gonna take it seriously. I yield.
Awesome. I just want to add a couple of point clarifications on what next steps around the legislation like this could look like. One of the functions of ASCSU are resolutions. Our resolutions obviously can call for something from an external body, but additionally it gives us the power to write it down and then hold on to what's written down and pass it to the people who can hold further accountability. So if, not that I'm not biased, hashtag Karen, but if this were to pass, it would go into our archives, and students next year, the year after they're on, can refer back to it. Additionally, what we can do after a piece of legislation is passed is pass an additional piece of legislation that would act as like an appendix of sorts to further the initiatives of the original legislation, kind of like how Chairman Monti was referring with the Gaza legislation, like you can refer back to previous legislation.
Another quick point of clarification, a big thing with this and the reason why that fifth therefore clause, specifically not naming exact companies to replace the ones that we currently have, is in there is because we were trying to get this resolution out as close to when that career fair actually occurred as possible, because we felt the longer that we waited, the more it would be a part in their minds and it wouldn't be heard. I do understand what you're saying, but timeliness was a huge issue when writing this piece of legislation. Like people have said, we are working on looking into companies currently, and as Brooke also said, I have been looking into adding like a referendum afterwards, and if you would like to discuss that, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.
Awesome. Chair Rivera.
I would like to yield to Senator Brothers.
Hi. Just to double check, I have you listed on the speakers list. Do you still want to be listed on it?
No, it's okay.
Okay, cool.
I just wanted to say, if this same particular situation was going on in other oppressed groups, I believe we would take the same action and ethical approach. And it's so crucial to view it as it taking opportunities, but more as where this institution sits on and its morals. We have to view it as we're taking lead and we're viewing our morals as an institution. I feel like if this were happening in any other oppressed groups, like with what's going on in the US as well, we'd take the same approach. Like if any other, and to put this in like perspective, if any of if Caterpillar was working with ICE, well, I'd want this bill to a resolution to still be set too. So I'm gonna say yes, and I would like to yield to Chair Rivera. Thank you, I yield to Chair Rivera.
Thank you, Senator Fulton. I would like to state that I'm in full support of this bill and I think you did an incredible job. I do believe that by removing these companies, it would allow CSU to also be able to expand to new opportunities and be able to have new collaboration with companies, organizations that do align with CSU's community guidelines. And I think this would open more opportunities for students and see what else is out there. And as many of my other peers have stated in this room tonight, I think if a student would like to take any internships or jobs with the companies that are listed on this resolution, I think they have they have the right to do so. I don't think we're gonna punish any student for doing that. But I do believe that we shouldn't be upholding or allowing to continue companies who have showed time and time again that they don't align with their morals. So I would like to say that, and I just want to say that we should be standing with our students because we've had multiple students come and speak tonight, with conversations and students that I was able to speak with tonight. I have heard that this is something that they want to see passed, and this you should. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say.
Awesome, thank you. Chair Francisco Roy.
If you are there.
Going once, going twice.
3 times gone.
Nice. Anyways, Chair Hill.
Hi. Sorry, I have to get my notes.
She's back.
I just wanted to say that I am in support of this resolution. I think in terms of my constituency, Warner College, we see kind of a similar discussion in terms of like working for oil and gas versus working for, you know, quote unquote, a more sustainable company or someone with better morals. And obviously that is a decision that every student makes. And they do like a cost benefit analysis of like, will this job experience lead me to the path I want to go down? Will working for this company lead me to the path I want to go down? And I think that's something that individual students can decide for themselves, but that the university should not be encouraging. Something that really made me much more supportive of this was learning that Woodward does build bombs in Fort Collins here. They have a facility in town. Like, that was very like humbling to me. And then also seeing that like those bombs have been deployed in Palestine, like the serial numbers like match the Fort Collins facility. Like that was, it hits very close to home. Like obviously we all live here. And I just thought that was kind of crazy. I did have a quick question. Will a copy of this legislation be sent to the like Engineering Career Center or like the organizers of the career fair?
As of right now, that is not on there, but that is a fantastic point, and I will add that. Thank you.
Awesome. That's all I had to say, and that I'm in support of this legislation. I yield.
Just to clarify, we're not a Q&A, not a problem at all. And Gio can use his parliamentarian superpowers to add that.
Coolio, Chair Francisco Roy, the top 2.
Here we go. So sorry about that, guys. Technical difficulties. Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah, for those of you who don't know me, and I apologize for not being able to be with you all in person tonight. I understand that I may be one of few speaking against this legislation. However, I would feel remiss if I didn't raise the concerns I have discussed with my fellow constituents. While the humanitarian concerns raised in this resolution are serious and deserve discussion, I believe that the actions proposed through this legislation exceed the appropriate scope of ASCSU and rely on assumptions that student government is not equipped to evaluate. First, excluding companies from career fairs would significantly limit opportunities for CSU students. Career fairs exist to provide access to a wide range of employers so students can make their own informed career decisions. Preventing companies from attending assumes that simply working for a corporation means endorsing every action that organization is taking globally. That removes the moral agency of students. In reality, individuals can set ethical boundaries within their roles and often work within institutions precisely because they want to influence practices from the inside. We have seen multiple examples of this before. Individuals like Francis Hughes at Meta Platforms and Shara Watkins at Enron, which is a power company and one of the Facebook company platforms originally, helped expose harmful practices because they were working inside of those organizations and were able to promote ethical changes to what those corporations were doing. For these reasons, while the conversation around ethics and global conflict is important and invaluable, this resolution is not a practical or appropriate mechanism to address those concerns. CSU students should be trusted to make their own ethical career decisions, and our role is to help expand opportunities for students and not restrict them. Working for an organization does not erase a person's ethics or judgment. If anything, meaningful change in institutions has often come from people willing to work within them. In some manners, I believe that this is, sorry, got a little mixed up in my text. However, I do not at all denounce this legislation, and I fully acknowledge and agree that this resolution is a powerful message of analyzing corporate accountability and employing individual morals, even in our career lives after college. I believe that this resolution is intentionally and unintentionally, and with full good intentions at heart, removing the autonomy of individuals and the opportunity of individuals to be able to change these companies from the inside out. And for those reasons, while I believe that this is an incredibly valuable humanitarian discussion, and I'm so glad that we were able to bring this legislation forward, and I think it's super powerful, I do think that it is restricting students in a manner that we shouldn't as a student government. So, thank you. I yield.
Quick point of clarification. The main issue that at least I am coming to this resolution with is actually administration and the issues with accountability and transparency that we have seen time and time again, not only this year, but in the past as well. And again, as it says in my resolution, CSU promises a lot of things, including employer expectations, which include not allowing companies on campus that are in violation of the university's non-discrimination statement, which, again, I go into. If you would like to read the whereas clauses, it will say in there, but it is about holding CSU accountable to the promises that they have made to our student body. Thank you.
Clear. Chair Casada.
Okay, so one of the things that I would like to read is our social justice principle of community. We have the right to be treated and the responsibility to treat others with fairness and equity, the duty to challenge prejudice, and to uphold the laws, policies, and procedures that promote justice in all respects. Another thing that I would like to read is the Human Rights Council from the UN, which was their opinion piece, their final 152 in their little report. The Commission has determined through visual analysis of photographs, holy crap, my bad, photographies from the scene that the extensive damage to the building's exterior and interior was caused by a large caliber projectile. The Sentry was a standalone building. I'm so sorry, guys. I read it from the very wrong thing. I'm so sorry. I did not mean to take this long. This is my last thing, I promise. Where is it? Where is it? Oh my gosh, this is so awkward. Okay. Okay. Is it here? Conclusion. Wow, that took a long time. The Commission concludes that the State of Israel bears responsibility for the failure to prevent genocide, the commission of genocide, and the failure to punish genocide against the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. So, one thing that I do want to say that was brought up from one of our students, which I completely stand with our Jewish students, and I stand with our Palestinian students. But we need to make sure that we're factual in when we're making decisions. And the UN, which it is international law, it's a little iffy, has ruled this as a genocide. People are dead. Human life is very, very precious, and I think that if we're going to say in our principles that we need to promote justice in all respects, then we need to make sure that we pass this. We need to make sure that this is legislation that also we can come back to. And I do completely agree with the concerns of wanting to replace these because these do promote jobs to our students and everything. But I know another student brought up the fact that we have a lot of different students and also just people in general who are very smart who we will be able to replace these. And so with that, I do think that people have spoken truly about this in all respects. So I am going to motion to previous question, and I really urge you to vote yes.
Is there any dissent?
Dissent.
Hearing dissent, we'll go ahead and vote on this via voice vote. All those in favor of motion to previous question, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Any abstentions? With that, we are going to move into a period of voting. Chair Rivera.
I would like to motion, for a secret ballot, but I do want to state why. As chair, I've had many conversations with many students who have felt unsafe and harassed due to comments, questions, and the way that they have voted in this space. And because of that, I am a huge believer that we have the privilege to be part of democracy in this space. And I think for us to uphold that, there's specific things that we do have to do. And I think fear should never be the reason why someone votes the way that they do. And speaking as a woman of color, I have experienced having my voice stripped away, so I understand the harm that that creates. And because of this, I believe that if we recognize this harm and still allow it to happen to others, we also need to reflect about our actions as well. But I do want to state that I do hope we find better alternatives to allow for other students to hear other votes. But I think we don't have enough time to do that tonight. And yeah.
Also, hearing the motion for secret.
Of personal privilege, would you be willing to also amend that motion to give them like a 5-minute recess then to count all those ballots? And or shorter?
I would do that as two separate motions, but hearing a second to Trevor Rivera's original motion, we'll go ahead and vote on this via voice vote. All those in favor of voting via secret ballot, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Nay. Any abstentions? I believe the ayes have it, so we'll go ahead and vote on this by secret ballot. And Senator Singleton.
I motion for a 10-minute recess.
Is there a second? Second. Is there any dissent? It usually takes us longer than 5 minutes. Could you amend your motion to whenever we're done?
Sure. I motion to have a recess until you all are done counting votes.
Phenomenal. Do I hear a second?
Definitely. Second.
Do I hear any dissent? Hearing none. Welcome to recess.
Please give me a call. Calm down, guys. Come on. Let's not be crazy here, okay?
No mystery.
It's all about servant leadership. With that, this piece of legislation passes. And we'll now be moving into Lex 5542, the LSAB Lex.
Motion for
Unfortunately, with secret ballot, there is a specific time constraint before we release the number of votes. I believe it's
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah. Lex 5542, the LSAB Lex. This Lex aims to mitigate the inconsistencies of prior edits to the LSAB bylaws that have yet to be reflected in the ASCSU Constitution. This Lex passes a new and improved version of the LSAB bylaws. If memory serves, I don't think there are any edits right in committee, at least in terms of review.
Coolio. With there being no edits, because this is a Lex making edits to the Constitution, right? Coolio. This is its second read, meaning it also requires a third read, meaning we're just going to do discussion, debate, and then send it off. Or no, we're going to vote on whether or not it continues, and then send it off to other committees if we vote yes. With that, we'll now be entering a period of discussion, debate by first raised placard. Associate Senator Balkin.
Yes. Senator Balkin. Motion of previous question.
There's a second. Is there any dissent to this? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and move into a period of voting on whether or not this continues. Chairman Johnson.
Motion to just approve this with unanimous consent.
Is there a second? Is there any dissent? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and approve this continuing with unanimous consent. And this will be sent to DEI. I don't think I figured out the floor before. With that, we'll now be moving into Bill 5547, supporting open educational resources at Colorado State University.
Resolution 5547. Quiet in the chamber, please. Supporting open educational resources at Colorado State University. This resolution aims to express the Associated Students of Colorado State University's parentheses ASCSU, formal support for the prioritization and expansion of the open educational resource parentheses OER program. There was one little edit there made in committee, and I'll leave it to you.
Do you approve the one little edit made in committee? Awesome. Oh, yes. With that, we'll now be entering a period of discussion debate on this legislation by first raised placard. Senator Balkin.
Motion of previous question.
We have to go through the motion. Is there a second? Is there any dissent?
Yes.
Hearing dissent, we'll go ahead and vote on this via voice vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Any abstentions? I believe the nays have it. Victoria, do you want to do something?
Yeah.
As a senator, I'm going to motion to dissolve and go into committee of the whole.
Phenomenal. I'm hearing a second. Is there any dissent to this motion? Hearing none, welcome to committee of the whole. Wait, what? We're in committee of the whole now. I assumed you wanted to do something.
Yes, there's two edits that I wanted to make. I'm so sorry, guys. I thought we were gonna get out a lot earlier, and I haven't had dinner, so I'm really tired and I'm hangry. But there's two edits that I wanted to make. If you could pull them up, Gio.
He's adding them.
Okay, fire. So these two edits are just to, it's like the accessibility clause So it was what we discussed with Justin Dove, the Student Disability Center, that's what it's called now, yeah, okay, right, sorry. The Student Disability Center director, and we talked and everything, and so it basically is just adding, making sure that whenever like OER is going to be transferred, that the Student Disability Center has stakeholder input, either during the creation of OER to make sure that like whenever you're getting your readings or anything like that, like going into into whatever you need it into that format, then it'll be a lot smoother because it'll already be in a format that they can actually like put it into different formats. Does that make sense? Okay, so yeah, that's it.
And we also know that the sponsorship and endorsement list is a bit different, that there's some that added more on committees and there's some that added them before it went to committees, and so we will do that after, but that is not going to be like a whole edit process. Yeah.
Were they made?
Yeah.
And they were read out?
They were not read out yet. No.
For accessibility purposes, I would read it out, but they have all these rights, so we can just look at it.
For accessibility purposes, we're going to be reading that in their entirety. Changes, the end of the 14th whereas is changed to and as opposed to so. Whereas 15 is added. Colorado State University is legally required to ensure that all digital content, including websites, PDFs, and course materials, is accessible to individuals with disabilities under Title II of the American with Disabilities Act in Colorado House Bill 21-1110. And as an institution committed to the inclusion, equity, and access, recognizes that accessibility is foundational to this commitment and is pledged to meet WCAG 2.2 AA standards to ensure accessibility across digital platforms, College of Liberal Arts accessibility. So, and additionally, another therefore is added, named therefore 5, and the succeeding therefore retitled to 6, that ASCSU calls for the establishment and implementation of a formalized process that incorporates accessibility stakeholder input and structured accessibility review either prior to course conversion to OER or during the development phase to ensure materials are proactively designed to transfer into multiple accessible modalities in accordance with the university and state accessibility standards. And that should be all of the edits.
Were there any other edits to make to this legislation and critical? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to rise out of committee of the whole. Senator Roberts.
I move to rise out of the committee of the whole.
Second? Or here a second? Cool. I don't know what I'm saying. Is there any dissent? Hearing none, we're out of committee of the whole. We'll now be going into a period of discussion debate on this legislation by first raised placard. Chairman Onti.
Vibes, I motion the previous question.
Is there any dissent? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and move into a period of voting on this piece of legislation's final passage. Chairman Onti.
Motion to vote on this via placard.
Point of clarification, we're using placard because our friend, this photographer person that I just met, wants us to have a really cool placard photo. So we're gonna do it. So all those in favor of the passage of this legislation, please raise your placard.
Everyone smile. Look at those pearly whites. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh, everyone looks so good. Yes. I love it.
Y'all can go ahead and put those down. All those opposed? Any abstentions? I think I know which vote is going to get the photo. But with that, with a vote of 25 to 0 to 0, this piece of legislation passes. Cool. With that, we'll now be moving into 5552, funding Rams Against Hunger pocket pantries for fiscal year 27.
And I got your email about the other one. I'll just add it later to the teams.
It's just names. And I added
Bill 5522, funding Rams Against Hunger pocket pantries for fiscal year 27. This bill aims to allocate $18,000 to the Rams Against Hunger pantry to fund pocket pantries for fiscal year 27.
Should I change the title?
Oh, cool, okay. It's pretty self-explanatory. This funds pocket pantries for next academic year, so not this year. We have funding through June 1st for this year, so this is for next academic year. Part of my job is to ensure that they get funded next year. Also, as is stated in the title, this is for pocket pantries, not the general pantry. And this is for all of the pocket pantries, not just the ASCSU one. So this does go to Rams Against Hunger, and then they distribute it as needed amongst all the pocket pantries. Yeah, questions?
Cool, we'll now be moving into a narrative Q&A by First Race Blocker. You're so head of the game, Associate Senator Pendleton.
I know I am. All right, first question. Have you discussed this with the ASCSU accountant, LaCurve? The accountant?
With
About money?
No, I have not.
Yeah, sorry.
But I've discussed it with the Slice accountant, Farah.
Okay. And secondly, knowing that we're going into a deficit next year, I just want to ask, like, what do you think, maybe you're a little biased because you wrote this, but do you think that this will collectively benefit more people than cutting, assuming, from what I've heard, from what I understand, cutting 16,000 then from next year's budget? Because if I'm...
Are you talking about an ASCSU budget deficit or
Yeah,
an entire university
ASCSU budget
deficit?
That's what I was
Could you
made of.
restate your question? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so to my knowledge, knowing that we're going into a budget deficit this next year, what do you think will collectively benefit more people, this bill or cutting 16,000, or not doing this bill and like having to cut? I don't know if I'm making myself clear.
I think I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Is this $18,000 worth possibly having to cut $16,000 from the general ASCSU?
Yes.
Absolutely. Some statistics that I shouldn't be smiling about. 2/3 of CSU students experience, no, I'm so sorry. 1/3 of CSU students experience food insecurity. Half of CSU students experience housing insecurity. 65% of CSU students experience some form of basic needs insecurity. Also, those two overlap because of that, and so students who experience housing insecurity will likely opt to go without food so that they can pay for housing. This provides a direct opposition to that insecurity. This benefits 65% of students, plus more, who likely don't report any sort of experience that they have or don't necessarily use the pantry every single week, but still need it every once in a while. And so I would say that when it comes to budgeting for the ASCSU budget next year, this is definitely something to take into account. I know that there's definitely fluctuations in the amount that every single department uses, be it Senate, Executive, Judicial, and so that is something for Victoria to decide how they want to distribute it, but I think that this is a direct benefit to 65% of the student body, more than I would argue ASCSU has ever benefited.
I just wanted, okay, yeah, I yield.
Julio, Associate Senator Pearson.
Hi there. So personally, I'm completely in support of this bill, but I have a couple questions for you. So I believe that while this is inherently beneficial and obviously like something that will be incredibly important to a lot of our students, I want it to be used to the full capacity, especially if we're providing fundage and we're about to go into that deficit next year. So what are some of your ideas for potentially expanding and bettering your food pantries, and would you be open to the discussion of opening potentially more food pantries in different areas such as the UCA or other areas on campus?
Yeah, I just want to make it clear, I personally, like, these are not my pantries, like the Director of Basic Needs or ASCSU's pantries. These are Rams Against Hunger, i.e. the entire University Office of Basic Needs. I work very closely with them, and I write, like, my role writes this bill every year to fund them, to then supplement those pantries throughout the entire academic year. I know that might be confusing, and like that's totally understandable, but I did want to just mention that. I remember your question now. Going into the future, they are also expecting budget deficit
they're going to be affected by the general university cuts that are inevitably coming, and so they are ready and prepared to not necessarily reduce the amount that they are purchased, but be more cognizant and aware of what they're purchasing and what the student body is expressing a need for. So like right now, I'm ordering a lot of milk and eggs for them because that is something that they run out of very consistently. That's something they have a higher expressed need for than, say, like the fruit roll-ups that go in the pantry every year, right? And so working with them on what are the things that they're going to prioritize, and within the like pocket pantries, how consistently do they need to stock them to continue to reach the student body and also know that they can't necessarily get every single thing that they want. Ramsey Against Hunger, as is the university, is experiencing a general decrease in their budget, and so this is just helping to supplement that budget a little bit from ASCSU while we have the money. And I know that they also kind of stagger where they stock, so like this one runs out day of. Because everyone comes through the plaza, everyone uses this ASCSU pantry. The ones at the Health Network, not everyone uses because not everyone's at the Health Network every day, it's pretty far. So they kind of stagger that, so that's a way that they kind of take that into account, if that makes sense and that answers your question.
Yeah, perfect.
And what was the second part?
The second part was just asking how, and I'm sorry, my brain is lagging a little bit because it's so late, what y'all's capacity is to potentially discuss expanding these food pantries or changing certain locations of these food pantries, or concentrations where you're putting your effort based on student capacity and then based on popularity among certain areas, and potentially expanding to other areas like the UCA or other buildings, and the UCA is just the only one I can think of because I talked about it with Senator Singleton earlier, but you know what I mean.
No. Yeah, let's talk about the UCA actually, because that is something that has been on the radar of myself, previous directors of basic needs, Ramsey Against Hunger themselves for years. They understand the want and the demand from the student body to have one at the UCA, and so I really enjoy that Senator Singleton is taking that and putting that like into action and trying to make that a thing that's happening. We've talked a little bit about it, and I helped him get in contact with Mike, and so I'm really glad to see that going. Again, it just does come down to budget. As they experience a budget deficit with the university, expansion just generally isn't a possibility right now. It costs hundreds of dollars to fund the pocket pantries every single week, and that adds up to this $18,000. I wouldn't be asking you for 18 if it wasn't necessary. And so I know the College of Business has also asked for one. That's also something they have in the back of their mind. And the reason that the pocket pantries are in the locations they're at is because of frequency of use. This general student body comes through the LSC every single day, more than they go to like the College of Business or the UCA. The UCA is like right across the street from the pantry themselves, like the actual one, and so they're obviously not open 24/7, but UCA students have easier access to the big pantry than, say, a student who has like a class all the way in the stadium and can't make it over there at that same frequency and at that same rate. And so when it comes to expansion, it's a possibility, it's something that people want, it's just not in the budget right now. It's not something that we can actively do unless ASCSU pushes for that and has a tangible plan instead in place.
Perfect, yeah. I just wanted to clarify really quick, like, I'm not like criticizing you guys for not expanding or anything. I just wanted to know if we were using that to like the highest capacity, and I know that that's an important resource. So thank you so much, I yield.
And they want to expand in the future, like truly and honestly, they do.
Cool, Chair Greer.
Guilt redundancy.
Senator Balkin.
Just a quick clarification, is this pre-allocating fiscal year 2027 Senate discretionary fund, or is it utilizing our current Senate discretionary fund for next year?
The latter. It's utilizing current discretionary fund for next year, so they have that before anything else gets done.
Okay. Yeah, cool, I yield.
Just as a point of clarification for everyone, we can't send out next year's Senate money until we're in next year's Senate.
Additional point of clarification, we don't have next year's Senate money yet. That money does not exist in our realm at this point.
Hashtag budgeting. Chair Hunt.
Hi, I just want to say that I do support this legislation. I did have a couple of quick questions though. The first one, and this is something that I've talked to a lot with not only my constituents but also just other students, is we don't fully know, like the education and outreach in terms of where the pocket pantries are is occasionally lacking. Like they can oftentimes feel hidden or like very difficult to find, difficult to access. And I was wondering if you had any plans to change that, or if you had any like, you know, different outreach like goals.
Yeah, that's actually a great question. I would say in terms of location, changing is really difficult because technically this is an offshoot of the general pantry, which has to go through food safety requirements. And so they have to work with environmental services, the food safety people of like Colorado, not just CSU, but like the actual food safety people. And so these are picked specifically due to their location off the ground and like ability. Additional, like similarly, the reason that they're hidden is to be more dignity affirming. A lot of people don't want to be seen. Do you have something to say?
Oh, we're just out of time in 1 second. Senator Singleton.
I motion to give the speaker 10 more minutes. Or
Do you secretly mean to?
For the Q&A.
Yes. Is there a second? Any dissent? Hearing none, that'll happen.
Thank you, friends. So they are meant to be dignity affirming a little bit, and so just to give people that autonomy back of not having to go through a very large crowd to access the food pantry. Different cultures have different views on like social service and that kind of stuff, and so that's part of it. That being said, outreach is really important. Advertising is really important. If people don't know they exist, they can't access them, and so they're on the website and they're working on like better ways to get them out, and I'm definitely trying to think of some other ways to make it more available and also just like a generally known thing. I think that's why this one sees so much, is because it's pretty right there. Everyone kind of knows it's there. I actually have a meeting with someone tomorrow to talk about a better way to make the locations known. So I can keep you updated on that if you guys want. But that is something that's on our radar for sure.
And then I just have another quick question. I know personally, like the forestry department, as well as recently our lovely new CEO at Rocky Mountain Student Media, they've been kind of starting these like unofficial pantries where like the forestry department will like pool funds and like collect donations for like their own version of a food pantry, and those see a lot of use, and that's like being taken out of, you know, like faculty or administration or on some occasions students' pockets. Do you have any plans to kind of work with these departments or groups that have kind of started something like this to kind of help alleviate that cost?
We have been at the same center too. Like I've seen that it's happening. I've not thought about that. I will look into that and come up with a way to reach out and kind of say like, hey, how can we support you? I think again the issue is just money. There's not enough money in the world, or there is, but not here. So we should go to that. And so I think that's just the issue that's being seen, but I will look into that and ways that maybe my department can support them at least through the coming years with what I have left in my budget, because I have some left that I don't really know what to do with. So I'll look into that. Thank you.
I yield. Officer Diggs.
Hello. Obviously I love this bill. Anything basic needs. I think that's what we should be spending our money on. But with that, there have been several bills allocating funding to Rams Against Hunger and pocket pantries, which I think is great, and I think that demonstrates need, like a paper trail of need. So my question is, are you aware of any conversations or attempts by the university to prioritize funding for Rams Against Hunger more? Like if we have departments that are consistently needing supplemental funding, I think it's great that ASCSU is like an avenue to get that funding, but are you aware of any attempts to like address that as a root cause and like maybe look at how we're allocating things on the university level?
Yeah, they did. So Rams Against Hunger was housed under Slice, which is our neighbor right there, for the longest time slices a student fee funded area and receives roughly $20, $22 every semester from the Student Fee Review Board, and they were giving some of that money to Ramsey Hunger to Fund. They just separated themselves also to build up their own name as the Office of Basic Needs and not be under SLICE anymore. And so they are hopefully, if like Student Fee Review Board kind of approves it and all of that kind of stuff, but in theory, going to become their own student fee area, and in the future they'll start to increase their student fee ask and receive more funding through that. Hopefully that will help them bolster their individual funding and like funding as a department and not have to ask ASCSU for as much. The university funds them a lot and a good amount, but they really can only get to the general pantry, the pocket pantries, because they are a subsidiary, and I'm pretty sure they were, I don't want to misquote, so I'm not gonna, because they're a subsidiary of the Ramsey Hunger, I think the university just isn't able to fund them right now, but that's definitely conversations being had and something that's being worked on as a student fee area and as they continue to increase that ask.
Okay, thank you. I yield.
As an additional point of clarification, I think something that could be of pertinence, especially as the budget is going to be presented here soon, is the knowledge that this specific type of request is something precedented, and keeping that in mind when we're approving how money is dispersed could be slay. But with that, does anyone else have any questions about this legislation? Seeing none, this will be sent to the budgetary affair, or I don't remember, budgetary appropriations? Close enough, and university affairs. With that, yay. We'll now be moving into Bill 5550, amendments to funds allocated by Lex 5423.
It's on the boats?
No, those are just basic ballot papers. Don't turn them like that. Bill 5550, amendments to funds allocated by Lex 5423. This bill specifies the Accessibility Caucus as the entity authorized to spend funding allocated in Lex 5423, and extends the sunset clause of Lex 5423 by 1 year. You're free to present.
Yes, this is a very simple bill. Last year we passed Lex 54 something to provide funding for portable walkways. There was kind of a snafu that we hit with that, and unfortunately our very passionate but graduating lead on that, Madeline Jennings. She's having a baby now. She can't be the one in charge of this anymore. So I wrote this bill to move the responsibility to the Accessibility Caucus so that we have accountability moving forward on who will take the lead on this project and finally bring it to fruition. And we also had a clause extending the sunset date out till 2027 to allow for more time in acquiring this product. That's about it. Very simple, very easy. I yield.
Also, with that one, I'll be entering a period of Q&A on this piece of legislation by First Chair Blackard. Chairman Opti.
Motion, the previous question.
Is there any dissent? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and send this to the DEI and Budgetary Affairs Committees. With that, we'll now be adjourning, or ending roll call. Chairman Opti.
Motion to use beginning roll call or ending roll call and let anyone who showed up late hop on.
Yeah. Second?
Second.
Any dissent? Hearing none, we adjourn. If you're new, if you could come up to the front and maybe and sign